ones in Counter-Strike history because these are slower rounds, right? This is the turtles. He's last second defusing. Yeah. He's panicking. He's panicking. All right. But you did defuse it. You did defuse it. Okay. All right. Very good, Maui. Thank you very much. So we're going to take a look at some of the most famous ones in honor of Turtle Day. The slower rounds, the ones where you squeak in just at the last possible second. So we're going to roll our first famous last second defuse now.
Cloud 9 here, NIP.
This is old.
He's back. Did you hear that?
He's
Wait,
back.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh, man. I was looking forward to the interpretive dances of your feelings of these rounds. You were doing a great job, though.
Back.
Well, I showed you the stress involved in a lot of these kinds of moments. So I think this one here, Cloud9, yeah, they just pull it off by the skin of their teeth.
Wow, this is an old one. Nothing and Shroud, Skadoodle. Yeah,
Skadoodle's on to bullying Koreans in Valorant teams now. So that's the latest gossip. That is not substantiated, by the way. That's just a rumor. So do not take my words as if they are gospel or the word of God at this point.
All right, well, this is from Cologne in 2017.
You know what? I probably watched this match, but I just don't even remember this. Oh my God, that's so long ago.
No!
Did it! America won.
0.008. So close.
So close.
Just gotta stay alive a little longer next time.
You know, that's one of the things I love most about Counter-Strike is as a game is just waiting to see if they're actually going to defuse the bomb or not, because it's such a beautiful moment of stress and anticipation that's built into every round.
The build-up on it is it's what you want from an esport.
It absolutely has the best pacing, in my opinion, of any esport. We're going to look at SK Gaming and Cloud9 from ESL Pro League here. So this is the old version of SK Gaming.
Man, bringing me back.
Well, Cloud9's in a lot of these.
Yeah, I know. Definitely an NA player put this together for sure.
Maybe they're just part of a lot of close games, you know?
No, that's probably true. Now we've got Liquid in a lot of close games and failed comebacks. It's okay.
Jeez.
Shout out to Extra Salt, by the way.
SK could buy a kid in this round, by the way, but they just wanted to make it suspenseful, didn't? So
just Fallen in a 1-on-2 here.
No way he wins this, right? There's just no way.
Dude, this guy is a Flashpoint runner-up. Oh my God! Flashpoint runner-up Fallen does it, but does he have the defuse? Does he have the time?
Mal, you should cast sometime, man.
I like the desk.
Oh.
Nice round, man.
Clutch round there from Fallen on the old SK roster. Good memories. Good memories.
Those were the good times. Let's not talk about some of the more recent ones of this roster. But, I mean, then again, Fallen's now playing for Liquid. You know, he's losing to Extra Salt as of yesterday. So it's not all sunshine over there. But, yeah, that SK LG lineup, legendary.
Yeah, really fun to watch. Yeah. Well, we do have one final heart attack-inducing moment here. It is SK Astralis, also from 2017, from the PGL Major.
Okay, let's get into it.
Is this one you guys remember fondly?
I don't think SK were at their tip-top shape at this point, but they still did give Astralis a run for their money at times. So interesting to see this one make it. I think SK came in 8th at this tournament, or top 8, but they lost in the first round, if I'm not mistaken.
I bet you are, but honestly, if you are right, just being able to recall something like that, I don't have that ability. That is incredible.
It's because I definitely had to look back at one point or another for another segment.
They definitely finished 8th in 2017. I don't have to bring up HLTV.
Jeez.
Confirm this.
Another kitless round, too, from this SK roster.
Oh. That was close. .008 again.
Wow, that is so crazy.
It's a farce. It's a scam. It just always says that now when it's close.
Yeah.
That's a pre-built.
That's how you can tell we're living in a simulation, because that's the only value that ever comes up on a close diffuse.
Exactly.
I think Anders called in, but
he hasn't called in yet today. I'm sure we'll get some information a little bit later from Anders. We can ask him if that's one of the signs that we are in fact in a simulation.
Yeah, what are the actual chances of being .008 every time? It's got to be really slim.
You know, it's statistically more likely than not that we actually do live in a simulation.
Yeah, I've thought about this before, but I think the main takeaway from it all is that however you live your life doesn't matter anyway. So I mean, it's all deterministic at the end of the day. So whether we're in a simulation or it's real life, like you have very little free will, regardless of all of that. Just do what you do. Just live life to the fullest. You know, that's how I think of it every single day.
Well, that's a poignant
coming.
moment of philosophy from Maui Snake here,
Fucking
teaching
beat on
you
the desk this early, dude. Like,
teaching you how to live.
or something.
You can't handle the turtles and then the heart
Turtles,
attack
I was good.
diffuses.
We were fine with.
I know you were really
You
good
and my
with the-
philosophy
You were
teachers
really
look like
good with the
turtles,
two.
actually.
The turtles.
Okay.
Yeah, because they taught you it's just turtles all the way down, right?
Yeah, it's just you just shrink in to your shell. Just gotta come in.
No, you know the joke about the nature of the universe where it's on the back of a turtle,
Oh, that one. Yeah.
which is just on top of another turtle, so it's just
Which is-
turtles all the way down.
Which Atlas is
Those are
then
the
holding.
turtles.
Yeah, it's a lot of layers. Things being held by each other.
We'll get a picture of turtles all the way down later so you guys can understand. Anyway, enough about that. We are going to do some English as a second language. No, not the ESL you're thinking of. I know they have the same acronym. Don't know why they did that. It's very awkward for people here in America. But we do have some comms in order to talk about, and this is a transition into some of our international rosters, right? Because throughout Counter-Strike history, we've had a lot of single language rosters kind of as the bedrock, and now, I mean, I hate to mention FaZe because they're not doing so hot right now, but FaZe is a team that typically has been communicating in English as their second language, and we do have a clip of some of their comms from earlier here at Flashpoint 3 when they were facing G2.
Cool. This is blue hood.
Nothing heavy.
Pushing street.
One more down, lower and higher.
One is gonna be late, careful. Lord.
Nobody side jet.
Careful,
Watch the
just
side
take
now.
this one.
One first.
Default dead,
One
default
down,
dead.
one down.
First.
I'm coming, I'm coming.
Higher pitch hit, one
What
close.
is? Summit.
That close.
That's him. Lower.
Lower, lower,
I'm pushing up, I have kids.
lower. Lower and higher,
Train.
probably pitch
Behind
50.
train.
NG
Okay, let's kill Nico.
Flash in.
Rotating.
Nice.
Pop, no smoke, Robbie.
Smoke it,
They
smoke it.
look close, they jump up. Hold
More
on,
team,
hold
more
on.
team.
I'm holding heavy.
Bye.
Pop, guys. Half up.
In team. One more.
One mid on pop.
Pop,
I'm
pop,
holding.
pop.
Pop low. B
I'm
box.
pushing back.
One teammate pushing.
Team mid low, two guys low. Teammate killed me.
Don't die. No, above that.
That's one teammate. Nice try, guys.
NT.
Low train.
One side?
Maybe wall.
Low train dead.
Up dead.
Side or something.
Nice.
Nice.
Gonna get the kit, boss.
No kids.
I have kit.
Yeah, good.
I got up.
You want double?
So, you know, we also have G2, who is now a roster that is communicating in English, and they are doing well. So we have kind of two teams at the opposite end of the spectrum. G2 certainly a favorite to potentially win Flashpoint 3, arguably one of the top teams in Europe right now. FaZe really struggling after some of their roster changes, and yet both communicating is in English as their second language. So what are some of the difficulties that this presents in a game like Counter-Strike? Because we saw some pretty some pretty hectic comms there from FaZe.
I'm just wondering why we haven't switched over to Danish yet. Seems to be working for.
So everybody has to learn Danish to play Counter-Strike right now? That seems like a pretty high barrier to entry.
It's just the skill ceiling or the skill floor, man.
How's your Danish coming along?
I'll start today. It's fine. We'll
Okay.
start learning.
Can you say hello in Danish?
Nope.
Oh, great.
Hello. Can you say hello in Danish?
No, but I'm not trying to be a professional Counter-Strike player, Lex.
I'm about to learn something today.
One thing that kind of struck me about those FaZe comms is that there's very little actual like initiative plan making in any of the comms.
They're very
They're
reactive.
Exactly. They're all reactive. They're all just saying, I'm holding this. Oh, they're coming out here. They're here. And usually when I've heard other teams' comms, or even just on Premier teams I've played on, there's constantly a person that's like, hey, let's do this. Okay, when this happens, do this. Like little like just reactions that are more like preparing for what is probably going to happen. Everything that was coming at FaZe, it just felt like the bullets were just whizzing by them, and they're just like, wait, this guy's there, this guy's there, this guy's there. And it's just like, I think you guys need to make a couple more plans. And I know that's so like backseat, and I'm maybe only saying it because they lost, but like they did lose and they looked kind of lost at some time. So
I think it's valid criticism given their teamwork and performance at this event. Certainly a disappointment to themselves and many other FaZe fans out to be eliminated in the first round.
yeah. I think they need another voice to step up there. That's my takeaway. I think Twist kind of sounded like he took a little initiative in those rounds, like I'm going to push up or something like that, but I heard nobody else doing any of that.
So do you guys think that this is generally going to be the future of Counter-Strike as we see more mixed nationality and mixed language rosters, that people are going to be slowly moving over towards English, probably with the, some rare exceptions like French teams? I doubt French players are ever going to do that because they've just stuck together as French rosters for many years now. But maybe some of the countries that have better English, Northern Scandinavian countries in particular, Germany, these nations, do you see more of these players kind of gravitating in that direction?
I feel like you're looking for a serious answer, but again, I just think everyone should start their Danish lesson.
I mean, it really isn't a bad idea.
I think it makes sense for a lot of teams that want to just mix make international teams. I think that for them, it makes a lot of sense for them to just start using English, but I think the secondary language for CS right now is Russian, and I think that there are enough players in that space that can just keep speaking Russian and they'll be just fine.
The one thing that I'll add to this, though, is like you're already commenting in English in FPL anyway. Like a lot of the players that are coming up in the scene, they're going to have to communicate in English. So, I mean, I feel like by the time you get to an international roster, if you reach that point in your career, you've already got plenty of experience at least being able to functionally play the game in English. But yeah, I don't necessarily think it's something that is totally necessary to be a top team or something.
I think for a lot of players, it's something you can write on your resume just briefly, like very proficient in English, because in the South American scene, for example, there have been Argentinian players and players from other kind of countries, and they all learn Portuguese, actually, because Brazil's the dominant region over there. So I think that's kind of what's happening in Europe, where if you want to be a player that can be taken onto any kind of international mixed team, you need to learn more than just your country's language.
I'm trying to think back right now, and perhaps you guys can help me. I mean, obviously with Astralis winning so many of the last majors that they've been communicating in Danish, and then I'm trying to think of the last team that would have won a major communicating in a second language, and I'm thinking like, okay, Cloud9, no,
right.
The
FaZe was close.
SKLG roster. FaZe was very close. FaZe is definitely the closest in recent memory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they probably are the team that's looked the best in terms of just speaking in a second language.
Yeah. So it hasn't been a good run of success for that model, however, you got to say.
No, I think even most of the second places recently have been just speaking in their native tongues, like most recently a Vanguard, they were just speaking in Russian.
Yep.
I guess maybe there's a case that some of them have primary languages that aren't Russian, like some of them are from Kazakhstan, but I think they just speak Russian there.
They do, I believe.
Yeah, so they're all very well versed in that. Yakinder is speaking Russian for them now for Virtus Pro, though. He speaks like Latvian, English, and Russian. I don't know which one what he would say is his primary language. So I mean, there's some success there in terms of someone being at the top. But there's a couple teams that are close to the top that a couple people have to give a little bit in terms of speaking their native tongue.
Well, G2, I think, is probably going to be the closest to breaking that mold this year. Certainly in the running still for the major championship, and we will be seeing them play later today for the spot in the winners' finals. But we've got to take a break now, guys, and then we're going to come back with our preview of our first match of the day, which is going to be, of course, mousesports going up against Astralis.
Points.
Astralis.
Astralis. Collide with mousesports.
Yeah, they
mousesports.
Spit. What the fuck? Yeah. Okay. Is everything good on this?
Welcome back to another day here at Flashpoint. We are in the thick of it in our winners bracket semifinals. This is Estonia here. Beautiful Estonia. Have you guys been to Estonia?
No.
No, I can't say I have.
This is Copenhagen. Have you been to Copenhagen?
I want to be interesting. I want to tell you I'm well traveled, but clearly I'm not.
I've been only to the Copenhagen airport. I hope that I have a chance someday to go to the new home of great Counter-Strike players there in Copenhagen in Denmark. And we have a very exciting matchup to start off the day. It is Astralis versus mousesports to kick things off. Now, many people thought Astralis may not be in these winners bracket semifinals. We didn't know what kind of form they would have coming into this tournament, but they have very much impressed us so far.
Yeah. Big question for me coming into this. I mean, obviously, you have a roster change, a big one at that with Device leaving the roster, Bubsky back in on the fifth-man spot. And for me, I mean, you know, Astralis is always going to be a competitive team to some degree. But yeah, the form that we were looking for is, are they, you know, in terms of their map pool, are they complete on these maps? Is Bubsky integrated properly into the strategy? Are they giving him opportunities to shine and play his game? The answer so far, I think, has been yes.
Yeah, and if you look at what's going on right now with Bubsky too, he has been top fragging on certain maps. They've seemed to have figured out a way to adapt their system in order to use his rifling strengths, even though they've taken a bit of a skill hit at the op position. Now, have you been impressed with Bubsky so far?
I think Bubsky has done a great job at his role, but what has impressed me most about Astralis in terms of individuals has actually been Zipnix, because there was this kind of meme-y thing I would say with my friends where it's like, basically, Zipnix in a 5v5, I'm sleep, but Zipnix in a 1v3, woke shit. So basically, he's popping off, though, in these kind of 5v5, 4v4 situations, finding multi-kills when I really normally wouldn't see him do that. So I got to give props to the man on the furthest to the right, because he is he's overperforming for me.
Yeah, and I think part of Astralis's, you know, recent success as well would be, you know, the play that we're getting out of Magisk, you know, kind of finding that top form again. And for Dupree, you know, you kind of give him the benefit of the doubt, you know, I mean, you're moving over to the op role, which you're not necessarily a stranger to. We know you can handle it already, but it's just such a void that you need to fill when Device has left the roster. It's understandable to kind of be, oh, we'll be patient with Astralis and wait and see if Dupree can actually live up to those kind of expectations. But dude, like, he's been delivering on the op, and you know, that's a tough ask of anybody, but I think it's something that he can be proud of right now, and he's only going to get better.
Has Glaive really proven himself as the best IGL in the world through the adaptation of Bubsky into the roster? Because you lose the great opping power of Device, but you gain some really explosive and aggressive rifling in Bubsky, and that's going to change the way that you play a lot of these maps. And yet, they have yet to lose a map at Flashpoint.
Yeah, I would say that prior to Flashpoint 3, prior to the roster change, I think it was safe to say that Glaive was the best in-game leader of all time in CSGO. But after this one, I think it's still early days. I think that if they win Flashpoint 3, okay, we can definitely keep that conversation going that he's the best in-game leader at the present moment, and probably still of all time. But if they flounder, if maybe this is the best that they do at the tournament, let's say they lose this game, then lose their losers bracket game, then maybe not. Maybe then we'll start shifting that conversation a little bit, maybe giving it to somebody else.
Well, who would it be? Who are the top up-and-comers to the IGLing throne in Counter-Strike right now, Maui?
I think if we were to maybe look at accolades and to see if Liquid are able to right their ship, then Fallen has to be in the conversation. If he's able to do it with a roster in a secondary language and they are starting to make waves on an international scale, then I might have to include him once again, even though he kind of had a tumultuous period in maybe say 2019, 2020.
Yeah, I think Alexi B is probably up there for me. You know, if Vitality's able to regain their form with the new roster, a lot of these teams and these IGLs, I mean, that's kind of the real test for rosters sometimes, and ultimately that's part of, you know, leadership and you know, stepping into a role as a leader where you're going to not just implement a system that works, have strategy and game knowledge that's going to bring you success, but lead players and lead people that are going to perform for you, and new players really throw a wrench into that. So, you know, guys like Apex that have new players on their roster that are, you know, young, up-and-coming talent, sure, but really haven't been delivering individually, and a lot of that has to do with comfort, you know, whether or not they're being properly brought into that system. And that is the challenge of this year, you know, leading up to the major, is whether or not they're going to be able to solidify their play. And, you know, that conversation about who's the best IGL or who are the top IGLs gets way more interesting.
Yeah, and speaking speaking of interesting IGLs, Dexter here on mousesports is a new addition to the roster, hailing from Australia. We talked about some of the mixed language rosters in G2 and FaZe. Well, mousesports is another one that is communicating in English right now with players from outside of Germany and English-speaking natives like Dexter. Dexter has also been top fragging or fragging very well throughout this event, which has been impressive. How has this guy been lost in Australia for the last few years? Because he seems to have slotted really well into this mousesports lineup.
Well, if I know anything to be true, the first thing you do is you don't ever go play for Winter Fox. And I think for Dexter, he came over to NA for a bit, had a little bit of international experience, went back, and that is like, you have these rare opportunities to really perform at the highest level and actually get onto rosters like that. And for him, I think it was a little bit delayed, but finally he's getting realized his potential is kind of being met. And not only is he obviously well respected and dignified in the sense that he's a good IGL, but the man's a fragger, and it's really fun to watch him play.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think that Dexter right now has kind of, before he moved over from Australia, people were saying this is easily the best player in his region. And the first couple of matches, he looked really rocky. It was like, oh, is that just because he was playing bad competition? But I think he's actually proven doubters wrong at this point. I think this tournament in particular is where he's really making a stand, showing that he can be one of the best fragging in-game leaders in the world. And that's something that when he first got to Europe, we were like, oh, geez, it's going to take him a long time. But I'm really glad to see that he's found some confidence in his play.
Yeah, and what's exciting about mousesports, too, is just like Astralis, they have not dropped a map either. They took out Fnatic and then Big, and so here we are at our winners bracket semifinal. Bans, of course, Astralis still removing Mirage from the pool. Mousesports will begin with an Inferno veto.
Yeah, they could have vetoed Nuke or Inferno there, and they know that Astralis is going to pick whatever they don't of those two, so Astralis naturally go for the Nuke. And Mouse do a really good job at targeting punish picks for their opponents. That's something that they've constantly done with this new roster, so they go for Overpass, which is the lowest win rate map for Astralis recently speaking.
And that's smart. I mean, they looked really good against, I mean, who doesn't look really good against Fnatic these days? But on Overpass, like,
Yikes.
their play was so controlled, and honestly, I think we're going to see Mirage here in a second, but okay, never mind. Mirage was the very first ban. I'm an idiot. Vertigo's map 3. Okay, that actually is a little bit more interesting now because I think Astralis did look good on Vertigo the other day. But I mean, dude, mousesports, I think Overpass, yeah, that's the scary map for me because they looked so crisp. The pop flashes were perfect. The timings that they were hitting on some of these strats. That's a well-oiled machine coming into Astralis right now, which is, the big question that we were just talking about was, is Astralis going to be prepared on some of these maps where maybe we haven't seen a whole lot of them yet? Have they practiced it? Are they well implemented in their systems? It's going to be a tough matchup against Mouse.
Yeah, I think this veto, actually, the first two maps look really favorable for Mouse, actually. And I guess when we look at the Unicorn odds, we see that Mouse are the favored team in this.
Yeah, they're coming in as, I think, a slight favorite, as you can see via our odds for Unicorn. If you guys want to sign up for Unicorn, you can head over to unicorn.com. 20 euros in, 4x bonus means you have €100 to start with the code Flashpoint. We're getting into our final week of competition here at the first European RMR, so now is a great time to go over to unicorn.com. Now, we are setting we're zeroing out everyone in terms of our predictions today. We will do a punishment after our grand finals next week. So everyone back to the blank slate of predictions. And Mr. James Bardolph was our previous victor in terms of predictions by a extremely large margin, so congratulations. Launders barely avoided the punishment.
Not a vaccine, James.
I had an extra digit than everyone else. So I feel like I should have immunity.
Are you the six-fingered man?
I'm essentially a dictator when it comes to the predictions. I think I've got like one wrong so far.
It's like you have the Survivor immunity idol for the week.
That's not how it works.
I think I should be
no one is immune from the punishment.
Right. Well, I think it's only getting more and more difficult. With these two, I kind of feel like I'm going to just ride with Astralis until they lose. So I've gone with Astralis for this.
I'm going to ride with James until we lose.
Hey,
James, don't tell him your predictions in advance. Don't let Launders do that.
No, we both made a mistake of picking Astralis today, I think. Everything points to mousesports a little bit.
Yeah.
The veto, the consistency across players, everything seems to lean towards mousesports a little bit. But Astralis have just been the team we just stopped talking about a little bit, and they've just been, now I think they're top 3 in this event. And it feels like teams are still scared of them. It does
It's
feel
always
like
foolish to underestimate Astralis.
Yeah, as it has been for
Right.
the last 3 years, it feels like.
Exactly.
When will
So
we learn?
I'm not going to do it.
Well, I think it's reasonable to underestimate them a little bit now, given the roster changes and everything that has occurred within the lineup. But they've been proving the doubters wrong so far. But I will say that maybe OG and Devil Pony were not the stiffest competition that they could have had so far at this event. I think this is really a true test for both of these teams.
I mean, Maui thought OG was going to win the event, so thoughts?
Well, OG beat him last time with the exact same roster. So,
Ooh, good
I mean,
point.
That's, it was just unlucky for OG there. But yeah, Astralis, they're slowly chugging along. That being said, I'm going with mousesports. I think the veto, these first two maps, knowing that mousesports was going to go for this target punish pick, got to think that they're coming in with a game plan here that's here to target some of those newer additions, some of the little cracks right now that Astralis haven't quite patched up yet.
I like that bet. And like Launder said, I think there's still a lot that still points to, okay, Mousesports is favored in this matchup. And I think, what we saw out of Mousesports, dude, they looked so good. But again, I just think it's so risky to go against Astralis here. So I went ahead and I don't know how much I put. 300 on Astralis.
All right, I picked mousesports for mine. I'm really liking the individual play that we've seen on mousesports right now, and I think that can overcome as Astralis as they kind of adapt to their new system. I think there's probably going to be a few more flaws, a few more winnable duels that you can take, play a little bit more aggressively. Love what we're seeing from mousesports. And speaking of that, let's get into our first game here on Nuke with James, Bardolph, and Launders.
Astralis will be starting on the T side of Nuke. Seen a fair amount of Nuke recently, which is nice.
Yeah, it's been a popular map, and what's great is it feels like almost every time it gets picked, both teams are very good at it.
Yeah,
it feels like almost everyone is good at Nuke these days at this level, and Astralis and mousesports are no exception. I think they're both on 3-map win streaks on the map right now, and they both played very good teams as well.
I remember the days where Ninjas in Pajamas and Astralis were the main notable teams in Europe on Nuke, and everybody else was definitely a few steps below. Played Stat team were really notable as well. Had some great executes many years ago. We'll see what the execute is like in the pistol run. A lot of executions on this ramp position for both teams. Glaive finds himself in a 1 versus 4. A-core's been popped. Just needs to isolate some fights here and be quicker on the trigger finger.
Yeah, everyone came to play today. These shots are crazy.
Yeah, if he peeks into B, then elevation could be an issue. Speaking of elevation, most people are downstairs.
Is that one wrapping mini, maybe? Okay, back hell. All right, Dexter. This is a perfect rotation from Dexter because, if it goes back through hut, he can go up the ladder, and if it comes this way, he can take the fight right away. Glaive's aware, but will he catch this off? Very nice from Dexter. And this guy, he hasn't been in Europe very long, but his stats are already starting to pick up to the point where he's one of the most consistent players on the team individually as well.
Yeah, it's good that he fits in stylistically with little adjustment. That is great to see. Well, it's a good start for mousesports, but we do see a force buy coming through from Astralis on their T side. Plenty of high explosive and HE at the same time. But let's see where they go with this.
Huge grenades.
Yeah, I was wondering if there'd be into the main position some double HEs early on, but it will be delayed as we can see. Trying to allow mousesports into a false sense of security. And that's part of why I picked Astralis in this series, is because of the grenade usage. Just what if we saw an Inferno, for example, it might be quite problematic, and that's perfect timing. Frozen exploded by Decon gives Astralis the man advantage.
It's a very interesting round already. So much to unpack. And there's some adjustments being made. Astralis are covering everything, actually. This is quite a smart round from them in general. More on that in a second. 3 on 5 now. They've got to steal back this eco round.
Acorn needs a headshot here. He won't get one. 5 HP, and that might be it. I think that's the rest of the investment in this round from mousesports, really.
Let's talk about that for a second. So we pay attention to Frozen's rotations. When he saw the nade smokes outside, he shot a little bit and immediately ran to go to the front of Squeaky because he saw the split coming. So that tells me there was some very confident read there. Then he dropped vent to catch the guys going lower. But Astralis were even aware of his rotations very well. They even caught him with the nade through the smoke when they were crossing to lower, got downstairs. So this already feels like a very high-level match based on the reads that we're seeing. Mousesports being fully well aware of what that whole round was going to look like, but Astralis still being able to win it and with worse guns.
Oh, man. At least they don't get the M4. But that is a very big punish from Astralis immediately. And what's cool about the utility from Astralis is that, again, they've been leading in terms of grenades and like high explosive grenades and such for a very long time. But as we can see, even in that round, they don't do them at the expected timing where you blow open the squeaky door and immediately put 2 HEs towards main, for example. They do them delayed. They do them like chain HE grenades. We talk about chain flashbangs to enter a choke point, but they're doing that with grenades as well, which keeps their efficacy up and their impacts high. That's going to be part of the story in this series for sure. We will see the force buy back from mousesports. Back and forth like this does not favor the CT side, of course. Acore will leave AWP money in the hole.
Yeah, they've got more expensive habits over on the CT side.
Very familiar with expensive habits.
You pay 600 for the fire bombs, James.
Yeah, absolutely. I want it in a nice container, you know, not a wine bottle with a rag outside. A man of panache. Well, this force buy has been neutered thus far by Astralis. Again, simply a team which limits your opportunity. But maybe there's something here for Dexter, although he walks into a sandwich.
I think a big reason why Astralis were in that slump was because Magisk wasn't as good as he used to be. Like in the, you know, he's always been the youngest player on the team and the newest, and for the longest time was just probably the strongest, just main rifler. Besides Dupree, they trade places, but in the past couple of months, like while Device was just on the team, those last couple of months, Magisk was really not himself. He wasn't really hitting his same shots. His impact wasn't there. But here at Flashpoint, the last I think 8 series or so, he's been topping up, you know, the 1.20 plus ratings consistently. He's really back in form, and I think that's a big reason why Astralis haven't lost yet. What are we looking at?
Well, that's important to see. Nice burst from Glaive. Got some Deagle's shots towards the end there from mousesports, so at least the players are looking sharp aim-wise. Everybody is on the scoreboard. But this will be a nothing round for mousesports, most likely, but maybe it's a something round. We have the Hero AK in the hands of Frozen. See him considering putting the smoke out, but since Astralis' smokes were so fast, he'll hold on to it. Fishing for something, not getting much of anything. So we'll see if he rotates that AK-47. It has to be instrumental in a victory here. Dupree not shy to peek some angles. And down goes Dexter. Speaking of down, we can see Astralis heading towards Secret. Bobsky looking for a flank. They don't have that lurker that you'd normally see a bit late on towards T-Red, so he'll just keep an eye on things himself.
Yeah, not expecting that outside presence. And that's, yeah, that's exactly one of the reasons why it feels like they know each other so well. So right now, they've got Frozen sitting in the big garage, but no one's trying to flank Secret. There's no CTs out here pressed up against Red. And it feels like Astralis are not playing to anticipate that.
1 minute on the clock, and I would expect at this point there's a reasonable chance that Frozen just holds on to what he has. Unless he gets engaged up top, of course. We can see rotation being limited by the positions of Astralis, really holding a complete formation here.
Yeah, this is different, man. Even for an anti-eco, this is kind of crazy. Normally you'd have, you know, your squeaky lurker to catch the vent rotators, or the hut lurker for different kinds of plays, but almost never you'd have both like this.
It's like a military formation, Astralis.
I like this.
That's basically what I'm seeing now. It's like they've got like military precision. They're really being as efficient and effective as possible, yeah. And that's why you can never just put them by the wayside.
Definitely. And you know, I mean, Glaive's a true champion. He always comes off as unassuming and jokes about his own performances and stuff like that, but he's a 4-times major champion and has the title of best IGL of all time. He has a lot to prove, I think, with any lineup that he leads.
Damn, if he goes 5-time, I want to see some Spinneroonies.
That would be insane.
Style. Get the gloves out.
Yeah.
Well, Mousesports on the buy, Acore, AWP, utility, quite light, but they have positions, such as the nature of the CT side.
I gotta say, Astralis are looking well drilled right now. Very well drilled. Some fresh stuff here. And that was, of course, roses because Mousesports didn't have much money to stop them. So they had 3 cross. There was no trades downstairs. But this is it's already a little bit of a weird round for Mousesports. They don't have much utility here. You know?
Yeah, so it's a light situation. And I would imagine Acor would be looking to force some action to make up for that lack of utility. But for now, they'll be waiting. Some pot shots, showing some presence from Heaven. And Astralis will quietly walk past.
No pressure outside for mousesports.
Yeah. This is the problem with Astralis, though. Like, if you respect your opponent, then too much, then that is a handicap for you. But if you respect them too little and you walk into their traps, then it's a fine balance to hold.
Catch 22.
They heard one player by secret, but there are 3 of them. There's a boost peak, and Dexter will be more exposed than he was expecting. We've got Dupree holding the event rotation, and indeed Astralis make their way. They're just outmaneuvering with military precision.
Yeah, the problem, part of the problem is number one, they come into the round with such low utility. They don't have enough. They can't actually get enough control of things or create space. They're limited to like waiting for Astralis to make a mistake, and that outside cross is kind of the perfect counter to what we saw. Also, I think Astralis are putting pressure on the fact that mousesports are not spamming the smokes. They had Acor put some shots through the off, but Frozen has not been shooting any bullets on that cross. No nades have been dropped on the cross whatsoever. Look at Astralis have 500 HP and got downstairs and planted the bomb. This is a horrible sign for mousesports, and I think there should have been at least one player who got some utility to be able to counter, and then got an MP9 or a FAMAS and got some nades. But I mean, at this level, there's got to be 1 or 2 players to make a concession on their gun in favor of utility, because you are going to lose to the better team more often. This is a good example. Now, in terms of consequences, it's not so bad because they save 4, and so they can rebuy, and in fact now they can get their utility as well. But that round was a wash. There was very little. I would say if Glaive were to look at this round before it starts, see their utility, and if he had any idea of what it would be like, he would say, we have a really good chance of winning this round. This is going to be so difficult for them to pull anything off.
Well, they were somewhat ill-equipped in the round prior. That's a great difference from Frozen. Gets the opening kill on Bubsky. It's the kind of thing that maybe they needed in the previous round, but round number 6, mousesports find their feet. Some good spray ducked by Glaive as he makes his way towards Secret. Again, Astralis really not giving many sound cues. There were footsteps from maybe 1 player in Secret previously after 3 went past, but apart from that, it is pure chess from Astralis.
Oh, man. Poor Frozen. I mean, he's done already so much. He got a kill. He's keeping eyes outside, and he's not hanging out around Big Garage in a way that he can get flanked. So Glaive has no one to hunt down just yet. In fact, Frozen's got the better angle for Glaive if he comes up to fight him. And Frozen also, obviously, is keeping tabs on the back of Mini. So here, that's his duel to win for sure. 3 on 5.
Smoke about to dissipate from a squeaky position. You can see Frozen still pushing outside. That's the bomb being shown by Magisk alone and now dropped. So this is a pretty dry round for Astralis, but they can look to have some impact. Fast 2K from Dupree. He doesn't get enough ratings for his burst ability with rifles, Dupree. It is absolutely outrageous. On the B-bomb side of Vertigo, we've seen some disgusting things from him, and maybe we'll see them later on if it goes to a 3rd map.
Frozen's got 4 kills here, looking for 5 to cap it off. Oh, Dupree trying to be annoying as possible with the way he approached that. Acor takes him out, but the round's all about Frozen outside. It's such a stark difference to even what we saw last round. He put down shots for the opening kill on the cross, and once you get that opening kill, the T's just start making bad decisions. So from there, he was able to capitalize. This is the kind of ferocity that he needed. He almost even got some damage off on Glaive on the second part of that cross. He was not spamming at all in the last 2 rounds. So honestly, I feel like I'd like to see some more support for Frozen, in fact. Some more flashes for him to be able to peek things. Because right now, he's literally just trying to shoot as much as possible. But he's at risk at every single time that he takes these duels.
Yeah, 4 1v1s collected by Frozen, or 3.5 if you will. 1 was through the smoke. Very good job indeed. You can see he was a big target for Astralis to have denial of information outside. Trying to keep an eye on what's going on. We've got the closer smoke grenades from Astralis. They've got the anti-eco position in the lobby. Dupree creeps through the smoke. That is brazen, but he's not quite sharp this time, and Dexter will get a 5 versus 4 for mousesports. They've got a player in event as well. 3 men now in the lobby for Astralis, and they'll be dependent on Glaive to try and find something here as they're smoked off from Squeaky. 1 minute on the clock for Astralis to make a play.
This is a type of play that Glaive likes to make a lot, so they know it. And again, Frozen, he's got a passive position, but it's just going to deny a certain amount of space here. And Robs, he's got an angle to get one. Knowing it's Robs, he could probably get two, but will they clear him is the question.
The bait setup works perfectly. Focus on Robs. Frozen pops out. He has the off angle for the instant trade frag attempt at that. Starting to move away, but Robs does not need the help. Glaive now left alone as things start to slow down for Astralis as mousesports start to grow in terms of their economy. Oh, knife out. Oh, Frozen's whiffed that one. 16 seconds, not much more for Glaive to do. I don't see a bomb plant coming, but... Or maybe. Let's see, we do have Acor down here, so it should be nigh on impossible. Misses the shot, and Glaive will be like, nope, I'm out of here.
Club's closed. Oh, he can die after time. And he will, in fact, actually. That's no money.
1 second.
1 second ago? Oh, okay, okay. Wow, I thought it was. Okay, well, another great round from Frozen. Okay, what we see is that Frozen's at ramp to catch him, to catch the execute on a ramp. But, you know, what we forget is that Frozen was the guy responsible for outside. So he made the executive decision to come and overstack towards ramp. Robs had this perfect bait setup with him, and it looks so easy. But, you know, for him to make that decision to evacuate outside after Dexter gets his kill in mini, this is what really makes the round a lot easier. So Frozen's been going huge, really, in a way that it feels like Acor should be with, you know, controlling outside. But he hasn't been that necessary. Frozen's been doing all the work.
Some early harassment into A from Astralis. Sports looking to build a nice half now on their CT side, which is important. Not even seeing too much spray through the huts and such.
Yeah, so quiet.
Yeah, which is very, very nervous territory for a CT side.
I feel like the #1 thing in 2018, besides those HEs that you were talking about with Astralis, was the fact that if you ever used a little bit more utility than you were supposed to, they were just going to put their foot on your neck. So everyone's trying to play this game of chicken.
Oh, the collision! Oh. That was the clue they needed. And they will begin the trade. Bemis gets deleted, and that's a bomb site taken. See if they can get the Molotov up towards the top. Indeed, they can. You can see that. That's going to force mousesports away. 3 versus 4 scenario for them. The money's not spectacular for mousesports, so decisions need to be made. They have just the one flashbang. So they may fish for some kind of kill. Acor may drop a smoke here for the retake. It does obscure vision from the low ground. Bobsky holding angles now. Ooh, that's a nice tag from Acor, but it looks like a save for mousesports.
Oh, is that? Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, they're likely to lose everything if they push in here and then be back on eco territory, and that's not somewhere they want to be.
The entry's been super strong. That second duel onto BMAS, he gets a little nervous. Goes quiet upstairs for a second. They're in the smoke. He tries to drop off the hut because he was last spotted there. Magis just pushes through because he recognizes the immediacy of the situation. Kills BMAS, and then there's no way to hold upstairs. If there was that kill, I mean, it totally tips the scales here. 4-3 would have been 3-2. Or 4-3 in favor of mousesports, excuse me, in terms of players, and then they could talk. But even on that previous round where it was like a 2-on-4 situation, we had Dupree come upstairs and get 2 kills, and it's not inconsequential. It actually, you know, affects the money in a really important way. Mousesports will only potentially have 1 buy after this. Might even have to save. They'll go right into the 2-op setup, in fact, and put an op in the hands of Rops. And I like this because the rounds have been kind of quiet here, even for Astralis. Wow, what a pre-aim.
Yes.
I'm actually shocked that didn't land.
Probably moving in accuracy. That was so quick from him. Love this pace there from Dupree. Some warning shots of a very different pace to what we've seen in the previous rounds on the T side. Lots of different looks from Astralis, but one thing is mostly consistent is how slow it's been. It was almost, the way they just went into A like last round was almost like a diver just emerging from the depths. A nice flick from Dupree outside. Really hunting for these kills. 2 AWPs persist though for mousesports. There is the first one from Rops. And now some of the position has been conceded. Chain flashes easily avoided. Does he have any help from the other side? Indeed he does. There's a swing for Acor. Not sure if people have passed him already. And he is going to get dropped. Completely misses that one.
Oh.
Then there were 3.
This is actually such a nice move back, I think, because Robs drops down, and that op is super powerful, but it's also kind of scared, right? He can't really come back and reclaim ramp control safely or in good conscience. So I think Astralis are going to try to use this to lock Robs into downstairs, make his rotation really hard, and I think they're actually going to come down to him. Wow. Okay, maybe they will actually run into this. We'll see.
They're so good with the angles, though.
Wow, yeah. I mean, they
hugging
can't
the
expect
wall.
him here, though. Yeah. This is crazy. This is actually crazy brave from Robs. Oh, and another great jiggle.
Yeah, stereo frags for Astralis. Wondering where Bemis is. Currently on the A-bomb site, Dupree lurking and looking. Got to be careful not to give up the AWP. Bemis is looking to go for it, it seems. He has a defuse kit, so we'll see what opportunity is afforded to him. Such a hard CT side. Just a lack of information being offered. Almost a full spray. One more bullet, and who knows? Zipex on 3 HP. And if he just fires that one bullet,
you never know
he probably
close you
goes
are.
for that, right?
Yeah.
But he has no idea.
You know, mousesports lose this round, but I will say I felt like I was going to eat my words with the way that Robs played it on ramp. I was pretty impressed. Number one, when he missed the first shot and they jiggled him at the top of ramp, I was like, it's over. He's got to leave and he can't have impact anymore. But he decided to wait there to dodge flashes and then just trust that he hit the next shot. And Astralis assumed he would leave because he was scared he didn't. And then when they came in for the second fight, he even stood on an angle that you'd think, this is pretty brave to be here as well, and almost brought the round back, but they hit him with another amazing jiggle and then got him killed. I think Robs played this situation really well, but Astralis, of course, even just slightly better.
mousesports have eked out by still pretty reasonable utility. 2 incendiaries, 3 smokes. Flashbangs are reasonable as well. Frozen's going to find a gap. See how many more cross. He knows that one's gone. Glaive can go around the Molotov. Mantis is going to get caught out with the bomb, however. What does Frozen do now? Bomb at his feet. Dupree holding the angle straight in the face. Thank you for playing. That'll be in Astralis' favour. They've got some possession downstairs. You can see Rops at the bottom of the stairs crouching now, not wanting to get end up in the same fate as Dexter did previously with the boost peak. And again, it slows down an Astralis cut noise.
Yeah, they reassess the position now that Glaive has found this outpost into secret, especially with the bomb here. So the options are, of course, to try to drop via ramp and also play the clock a bit more because they have Dupree controlling outside to see if the CTs feel some pressure to make a move. Now, the natural adjustment for the CTs is to go and take over like lobby control, for example, but because sometimes that is so obvious, you don't want to do it. Now, they are still in 4v4, so they don't have every incentive in the world. But still, you know, Astralis want to maximize the clock since they have the time to work with, and they've already made good progress.
Plenty of rope being offered for mousesports to hang themselves with, but they won't take the bait. That's a great response. Oh, he gets, oh no, Robs and Dexter combined. The 2 smoke kills, great position from Dexter, sees the bomb as well. And this round has changed dramatically. Patience paying off for mousesports.
No way he did that. Spider-Man. Didn't even drop to hit the... If he had, you know, quietly tried to get down the ladder and then softly touched the ground and then waited for them to drop, I think he would have missed the timing.
Dupree has to no powder there. There's still money for a full buy for Astralis. But this is a hard-fought for 4th round from mousesports. What do you think of these rounds from like mousesports' perspective in terms of just the lack of information? There's sudden surges here and there from Astralis, but how difficult do you think this is to play against?
Right now, I think they're putting so much stock in Frozen. He's getting all the info for them outside. He's already locked down 2 crosses. He's got the opening kill on 2 rounds that they won. He has even got some more damage off on another player, or at least some info. Dupree's opting outside, for example. 1 crossed already later. He really just has been the only person to illuminate the rounds for mousesports at all. Without him, like you're saying, I think mousesports are almost blind gambling almost every round. So to me, I'm a little bit worried about that volatility. Like typically it's your opper that you want to have trying to get that info more often because they can get it and survive. But Acor, he's just been getting a kill here or there. It's another opening, which is worth more than any other kill, but Astralis already trade for some positional compensation. They get lower again quite quickly. Acor's made a nice rotation downstairs. Bomb clearly still hasn't made a decision yet.
So dangerous to seek information versus a team such as this.
It's amazing to watch Astralis sometimes because they play differently versus different opponents. They don't just play their game, actually. And here they are trying to punish this lurky style of mousesports, but mousesports staying 1 step ahead.
Frozen's position, very important. Bomb dropped in no man's land, completely exposed. But maybe there's a chance if they can keep dwindling the numbers. There's reasonable time left for Astralis, but again, that bomb is an issue. Question is, how do mousesports position themselves to give Frozen some help outside? That objective is going to be quite difficult to defend.
He finds a nice position on this corner where any lurk outside, he's going to have a favorable CT engagement for. Oh, one comes in the window. He can also hide from that. That's beautiful, man.
Well then, dupreeh can race into the bomb site. The Molotov will try to stop him, but he gets into it early, but just before he can make it to the site, Bemis is waiting for him. Massive headshot delivered, 5 rounds for mousesports.
I remember this game where it was at DreamHack Masters back in winter. There's so many actually reference games from that tournament, but Astralis played against Furia, and the most startling part about that was when Astralis played against Furia, they played with so much aggression to counter the aggression of Furia. But then you see them match up against different teams stylistically, like they know these rounds are going to be quieter and a little bit longer, and they are trying to abuse that versus mousesports. The game plan seems so specifically tailored towards mousesports, which I can imagine makes it hard to play against, because mousesports is going to watch some demos, try to get a read on the situation, and Astralis are going to have a game plan that's just looking at their demo specifically. Now this lurk gets caught off one more time, man. The amount of different spots and angles that Frozen is getting his kill from, this guy's anything but a one-dimensional player on this CT side.
Well, the main issue has been eliminated, and the rest will soon follow. mousesports now building something here on their CT side. The score is tied 6-6, but Astralis will be back on the bye.
So we've had these instances of explosivity in the early round. Like we had the dupreeh opening duel where he attempted it upstairs. Even stuff like that can get your opponents to use their grenades a little bit too early. And I think it's been a minute since we've seen Astralis try to implore something like that. So I imagine they're going to test the waters with maybe something a bit faster. And I think that the tough part for them mentally is that they've gotten a lot of good map control from going outside. But along the way, Frozen have been doing a great job of picking them off. Say, hey, you're going a little bit too far. Hey, I got your teammate second in. So again, they throw the exact same smokes. I mean, Glave's always about conditioning, but this time nobody's crossed.
Always a classic setup for Fnatic to show the same round but a different finish. Drops in a forward position now. I feel like mousesports are starting to bounce around a bit more, feeling some more confidence. We can see Acorn out, starting to head forward. But again, Astralis are waiting. They're always waiting, and that's a superior angle for dupreeh. Pretty hard for Rops to come out on top of that one. But Acor is here in possession of the ramp. 1 minute on the clock now as Astralis start to poke and prod. Astralis are quite light on utility, it must be noted, at this juncture. They've got a few flashbangs, a few mollies.
Yeah, that actually makes that push, throws around in question for mousesports, because like up until that point, yeah, like you mentioned, Astralis didn't have that many tools to try to win some fights. Acor, it's not kind of a bait setup with Acor rotating in a ramp quickly, but they don't push off of that. They don't fall for it.
Yeah, even with just the one smoke grenade, still heading outside. 3 players. Acor busy at the ramp though as the bomb makes its way downstairs. 22 seconds and the bomb's in secret. dupreeh making an entry on the A bomb sites in the meantime. Where do mousesports go? How many sound cues do they have going downstairs? dupreeh charging into A now. He's entertaining. He's got a fine bone China at the tea plates. The afternoon tea. The scones, everything.
Any
Frozen and
doilies?
Acor remain. That's it.
Any doilies?
Any doilies? I don't know what a doily. Freya probably knows what a doily is.
Okay, a doily. It's like a skirt for a cup. Well, you put it on the table, and then you can put the. It's kind of like a like you'd have like for a beer, you'd have what'd you call that?
The beer mats.
Yeah, beer mat. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's like usually grandmothers have them. Doilies.
Send me pictures of doilies, people.
I mean, they look like snowflakes. They like kind of stitched together. You know what I'm saying? They're like white and.
I think I do.
Yeah.
I think I do.
Thought it was something that you'd goes with tea.
Round number 7 is on the board for Astralis. How many rounds are you ideally looking for from mousesports on this CT side?
This game is so much more than rounds for me, where it doesn't feel like they're just trying to meet a quota. This feels very, very high level to the point that I think there's no telling, even in the second half, what happens. There's so much preparation that clearly went into this game, and everybody's actually doing well. dupreeh was one of the question marks for me, because his individual performance has been up and down since, he's picked up a few new roles. Bobsky is, he's down there, but the round score overall is like not bad. So here's a change of pace. They run upstairs quickly, Entries for Bubsky and Magus. Answered back by 2 CTs. Frozen tries to push through and find 1, but he only gets some damage.
That is a huge kill. Frozen's been such a problem for them. Astralis abusing numbers on the A-bomb site, and A-core's forced away again. 2 versus 3 with some high ground advantage. I'd imagine they'll give this a go, mousesports. Rops picks up the second AWP. You can see him creeping now. 2 AWP retake, not the easiest thing. And with those smokes up reasonably fresh, Zipex still has 1 in the hole. That may limit the options for mousesports after all.
So to go back to that quickly, we take a look at Bubsky's, 2 and 8, and he only had 1 and 8 before this round. Without his kill, maybe they lose. Like, it's actually nuts how much that value that 1 kill has. But nonetheless, his T-side performance is something I looked at before this match overall in the team. Because when he was a sub, this was the harder side from him, especially on Nuke. On TD side, he was getting better and better. On T side, it felt like he faded into the background, kind of like Zipex a little bit, where in that clutch situation like Maui's talking about, all eyes on Zipex. He has such a high percentage chance of actually winning the round. But in those 5v5 situations, it's hard for you to actually talk about a situation where Zipex was the key person in the half on the T side overall in the mid round. Dupree's going for the opening kills. It's Glaive crossing outside aggressively. Those guys are mostly in the backgrounds looking for refrags, and Bubsky has had trouble finding impact. Even though you'd think his brand of Counter-Strike suits nicely to any T-sides overall, they're still working on integrating him into the roster. Now, on the bright side, in some of their bigger matches, like versus G2, he was a top performer on T-side, but he still is one of the most consistent T-side players on the team right now.
Last round of the first half. A common start with Squeaky blown off. Glaive walking in dry once again. Not really for Dexter's angle there, but the FAMAS. 2 of the French guard. It's an overperformance from him. Great position held by mousesports. Smokes up and mollies, and the Astralis can do no more. They got nothing from that situation. Now they are severely disadvantaged. Rops may have a free one trying to bait the shot, but that'll fail. Lost the angle himself, and Dupree will get revenge. That's only the first kill for Astralis. That's some serious airtime from Dupree. They've got some position towards the B bomb site, but how on earth can they hold on to things here? 2 versus 4. A molly to take control of control. They've got 59 seconds looking for a fast bomb plant while the grenades are up, but Frozen has other ideas about this round, other intentions. Bubsky now, 50 seconds on the clock, needs a multi-frag here. He's in so much trouble, dancing around the smoke. We've got 1 by Decon as well. Pressing forward, Dexter on 2 HP. Won't be the easiest clutch in the world, moving to the AWP here. That's an interesting approach, 56 HP. Door is open once again, he knows 1 is close. Scopes in, they'll hit that scope. Switches to a Desert Eagle though, catches Dexter off guard, throwing a grenade. And then there are 2 more to find. Oh my god, how's he found that one? He has angles on the bomb now. Has he got the flick? No, Beavis!
Oh my god.
Jesus, Louise, how did he even see him?
I didn't even realize the op was an option in that situation. He almost had the entire thing mapped out.
That is quite an explosive way to finish a very laboured half here. Very tight between these 2 squads. Just 1 round in it. Where does this go after the break? Find out after the break. That was a crap throw. See you soon. after a very interesting, nervous and scary pace set by Astralis on the T side. I do wonder how things will look now that mousesports will be able to do the same on their T side. First comes the pistol, though. Wow. Zipex has been made the raid boss with the dual elites.
Yeah, you see those odds swing actually like greatly in favor of Astralis at the end of the half. The live odds, of course, the confidence for Astralis going quite up. I will say it. I mean, the first half does not determine the results in the second. You know, we switch sides. Who knows what the preparation will look like? But we do know. I mean, this is one of the best CT nuke teams in history. So. Either result wouldn't surprise me. Cross downstairs. Left one to lurk.
Ooh. Oh, he's really looking for that second one. Quick jiggle. He is at the point of no return now, Dupree. There's a traffic jam, but they'll force their way through. Another barricade coming. Oh my god, the HEs, the high explosives. Let's call it the Astralis grenade. It's a nice pop from Rops P250. Will be noted.
The vents, they can come up with the vents now.
And they can. Glaive has a high ground, though, towards heaven and multiple targets. If he can stay alive for the retake, that'll be something for Astralis. May not want to fight to the death here if he can try and avoid it. Spots Acor by Squeaky. There's some information. He pretty much knows where everybody is, roughly, which will help Astralis start to move in. That should have been a free headshot for Bubsky. Too many shots to the chest, and down he goes. Advantage mousesports. No more HE grenades for Astralis. Has to be done with the pistols. Rops holding up, and now it's just Magic 1 versus 3. Frozen continues to be a problem for Astralis as mousesports take the pistol.
He's been very good. I think the nicest shot of the round there was Rops. Clean one to the top of hut. Opened the rotations up upstairs, and Astralis were smart enough to leave someone there, but Rops still countered him. But that round, for me, was a bit messy. There was a lot of shots. Dupree hit a very nice shot to kick things, and then there's this where there's just so many bullets that it's just like rubber bullets for the rest of the round, basically. The Glocks look good, but the amount of times that USP had an open duel, Bubsky there, player who dropped in the upstairs, they should have won that fight. They didn't win it.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing about like the P250 on the CT side has better armor penetration, so if you are hitting people in the chest, it makes more of a difference. That is quite the drive-by from Dexter. Worthy of a rap video.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never see the P250 on because of the range for the headshots, right? On a CT side and a pistol round, but for armor pen, if it's going to be up close, it is something to consider. The mousesports numbers being abused towards the B bomb site. Bubsky controlling control.
Yeah, they broke one window, so you might know, but this is a strong spot, actually, Bubsky. You need control of control room to be safe. Look how the team gets split. My God, Frozen. He does it all. He is a problem. You're right, James. Wow.
17 for 8. He is just growing with power. God of War over here.
He's one of those players just like Rops, right? It's kind of like having Electronic on a team with Simple. If they were on their own teams, they would be thoroughbred superstars that we would only talk about by themselves. But he's on a team with Rops, so he gets overshadowed. But Frozen, he's one of those. He was the guy when he was 13 years old. People were on Reddit talking about this kid, how he was going to be the next generation talent to look out for. And for my money, one of the best in the role. Getting better by the day. He actually came back. 2020, he had all-time lows in his career. But actually, a lot of the Tier 1 talent had all-time lows in 2020. It was a tough year for everybody, for many reasons. So, but since then, he's brought it back drastically. I mean, go look at that graph for yourself on HLTV. Frozen has recovered his form dramatically.
We've got a Desert Eagle for Magisk. And a P250 for Bubsky. Apart from that, it's more or less clean eco from Astralis. We'll see what their first full buy round looks like soon enough. But first, mousesports will be patient, giving Astralis an opportunity to make any plays and walk into their rifles and UMP for Rops. Well then, in they go to the A-bomb site. Beamer's clearing CT red. CT event, sorry.
Nothing like a free site. Do I have it wrong? Was it mousesports who beat Astralis in their map win streak in 2018? Remember the first team that did it? Was it mousesports?
Don't ask me to remember something. It's not a good idea.
You might have been casting, James.
I think I was. This is the problem with having horrible sleep, Saunders, is that you don't remember anything.
It's an asthma issue.
Yeah, well, that doesn't affect your memory, but...
No, I mean the sleep. True.
Yeah. My memory is almost non-existent.
Dog water.
Well then, mousesports win the pistol. They've won both pistols now. They got reset on the first half. This time they win the consecutives, and the game really begins. Into the meat and potatoes now. Gravy optional. Org for Zipex, the rest with M4A4s, and some good utility for Astralis. Oh, look at that. Chunky damage with a HE from Astralis. Never saw that one coming. Frozen will be outside once again. The sentry for mousesports.
I want to draw a contrast, okay, because I feel like mousesports misplayed a bit in the first half where they didn't put enough pressure outside. I don't want to pay attention to how Astralis deal with outside. And look how seriously they take it. Glaive, man, he is not going to be shy here. They've also got Dupree inside secret. I don't think Dupree's position is known yet. He made this early rotation to stack it. Means upstairs is a little light right now. There's no one in front of Squeaky, even though Magisk is the one who's responsible for it. And still, we've got a CT peek. That is actually a lot of info for Bubsky to get away with. This will rock mousesports, you know?
Yeah, Dupree had plenty of sound cues from Secret as well, so they know that mousesports are targeting the heaven position, and there he pops up to deny Frozen. Then we find ourselves in a 4 versus 3.
The amount of options, as soon as Bubsky sees 3 people outside, the amount of options for the CTs are limitless. Number 1, Dupree knows his targets aren't coming towards him. Number 2, they can take hut control because lobby is understaffed. And Rops actually only has a UMP here. But this starts with Glaive getting the opening kill like Frozen, getting lots of damage off, and then also overstacking outside in general.
25 seconds on the clock. There are 3 Astralis players on the high ground. i.e. on the deep bomb site. Bubsky with the most awkward angle possible. Buys enough time for Magis to instantly trade. 3 survive for Astralis, and they move to 9.
I don't know how to spray from that angle.
It's horrible, isn't it?
It's horrible, yeah.
It's extremely awkward.
Some people can put themselves in these positions, they're fine. But here, we'll not watch play for the rest of this half. But when it comes to drawing a contrast to Frozen, I think that's going to be one of the most interesting stories here. If Glaive is actually playing well, Frozen's playing well, them going to head-to-head I think will be interesting. And Glaive is the guy who is he's the warden of outside on this team. But they're actually doing the exact same play. Interesting. And the fast cross is coming too. Cheats have no idea. Dupree might even get 2. He gets some damage at least. Confirms 2 more on the cross. Again, this opens up lobby to be pushed, and Glaive is still here. Look at spamming down smokes.
High explosive kill.
He said, I don't care if you know where I am. I'm going to get some damage off if you don't try to kill me, and that is the opt-down outside.
Their grenade damage is, I'll never take it for granted. It's just outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. 4 versus 2. Shut down. Magis pushes lobby again, and Rops there's too many angles for him to deal with. And that leaves Bemis with 1 minute on the clock and an AWP half health.
That was audacious, for mousesports. No, that was audacious for Astralis, excuse me, to copy and paste their play from last rounds. And even funnier that mousesports went with the same play as well. Rock, paper, scissors, and both people picked the same thing twice.
Yeah, the CTs always need to be offering different looks so as not to be targeted based on their habits. But Astralis may be playing against that expectation. Some jump peeking, and Bemis has been spotted. He's against the clock now. Gotta find a kill here. The crosshairs was in the right place. That was pretty respectable, but Bubsky had a superior angle, information time. Steals the AWP as well, as the score is now tied with mousesports looking at a potential eco here. Rops has 4150, but the rest of them about 2,500.
Funny part is about Glaive is he actually talks about his individual level a lot, especially for someone who's been known to bring in the tactics and the strategy and push the limits. In that regard, he often puts performances down to how well he played. And today he's actually having a really, really strong game. He's 11 and 13, but if you have a pair of eyes, you can see how much impact he's had already.
You can see it with one eye as well. Let's not
an
malign people, Launders.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's be inclusive.
Maybe you can hear it as well, in case you can't see it all.
3 Desert Eagles and a P250 for mousesports.
Didn't mean to alienate anyone.
I remember there was a blind person who played Mortal Kombat. I only saw it on YouTube though.
I'd be sad if I lost to someone who was blind playing Mortal Kombat.
Especially because it has a dedicated block button as well. Yeah, that'd be very interesting.
And did they win or like a lot?
I don't know. I mean, I would imagine it was like select highlights because it's YouTube, right? So
yeah. Grinds 1,000 games. But there was a blind StarCraft player in Korea.
Really?
I actually don't even remember this.
How?
People are nuts, man. I watched a lot of Dark Souls. People that beat that game with instruments. I've seen someone beat it with potatoes.
Potatoes?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I need links, Launders.
Yeah, I'll give you all the links.
Okay, I want to feed me information. I want to see
a Guitar
StarCraft
Hero, DDR Matt. I've seen someone beat Dark Souls blind with a blindfold. Everything. Humans have no limits. It's like Iluid Chepchoge said.
No limits and no lives.
I want to see what the limits of the human mind are. Push it.
Well, we're seeing the limits of efficiency with high explosive grenades from Astralis at present. We're back on the bye once again, and they move into the lead with 3 rounds in a row, 11-10, and AWP on both sides. AK-47's out for 4 of the 5 mousesports players, and Magis just continues pressing forward, but Acor is expectant. Astralis raising the heat, or trying to, but mousesports have picked the right play this time. Or have they? Glaive still creeping outside just when you thought it was safe to take some liberties. All the smoke will be deployed, but if mousesports don't go outside, they have to assume that Astralis know this based on Glaive's position.
That was right on the lineup. And this is a strong off angle, and the AUG makes it even stronger. AK might stick out in this spot. Zipix nails one, but a great refrag. I mean, the spacing is impeccable. Love from up top, sees the bomb in his vision. One in front of Squeaky, and this is a problem for the CTs. It's now a one-on-one. Flick comes in from Dupree. He has been lights out today. Decides not to. Oh, make that rotation!
Shut it down!
Wow.
Just the one tap Dupree, man. We're talking about his burst being utterly horrendous if you're on the receiving end of it, but that's just domination. That's domination right there.
Yeah. It's not often you see Rops get shot in the back of the head.
My God. He's a devil car in Ridge Racer, man. He's a beast.
The trades are tight here, man.
We don't deserve Dupree.
No kidding.
The way he kills people is savage.
And he's got the hardest, you know, he's up before. He's off for an entire tournament, but he's got the hardest job in terms of role switches right now with Device leaving. The shoes are just that big.
The statement maker. Dupree. Oof, I felt that one in my bones.
He's also not like Device, so even if you switch us to Device's role, they've got to bring a different culture into the lineup. It's got to be a new team.
Exactly.
That's the real challenge.
They can't replicate, they must innovate.
Yeah.
4 Desert Eagles on the road for mousesports. Dupree a footman. Not really finding what he's looking for on that occasion. Downstairs we go. 1 minute on the clock. Mousesports would love a bomb plant. And there's a reasonable chance of that. Zipek's the only man downstairs at present. They creep towards the bomb site. Maybe inspired by the Astralis peak in the first half. We'll have that boost. Looking towards Decon. Have you ever worn a hazmat suit?
I wore one in China, but I think I was supposed to get fined for it. I was in the hotel room. It was like a fire.
Okay, never mind. So mousesports are moving into the B bomb site, and there's potential for a rifle. I just wasn't expecting that response at all. That's a nice headshot from Dupree up close. An important one. If they lost that AWP, then who knows what happens. He's low though. He's in trouble. The jiggle could be a problem. He actually goes for it as well, but Frozen's got a taps in. That's a big escalation now. Dexter with the Desert Eagle will make things even more interesting. Acor doesn't have any Kevlar, but Frozen's doing the job of this AUG. 2 kills so far. It's at 1 versus 2 now. Bubsky on the bomb. Sure, he doesn't get all of this, and indeed, we were looking at a bomb plant, but somehow mousesports managed to convert it into a round, a very expensive round for Astralis.
Yeah, that's Frozen all day again, showing that he's a two-way player at this point, because now on T side the impact is almost equivalent to what he was doing on CT. This is beautiful. The movement from him is fantastic, and this is a losing situation all the way through. And in a game like this, I think it's going to be rare to pull off an eco. I think we've got 1 each per team now, and just with how of quality I think these rounds have been from both sides, it's very unlikely to see a situation like that be pulled back. But some great AUG work, and that's kind of sometimes why you don't buy the AUG, because you don't want even the Ts to get it.
Yeah, it does shred. This is a very big round for mousesports. There's a lot of potential in this one round. because if they can break Astralis here, this could be the run to keep them on the back foot, keep them a bit broke, and maybe steal Nuke away. The pick of Astralis. Frozen having a look, but Glaive will decide when he chooses to engage, and Frozen won't know if there's other angles being held here. Glaive just teasing, showing a bit of flesh, slowing mousesports down somewhat. You can see them heading towards the ramp area now, where Zipex waits. He doesn't have much support at the moment, but Glaive is on the way, so perhaps there's a hard read here.
Yeah, wow, the op is coming in to lead, and there's an opportunity for a pick, but the peak is so annoying here from Glaive. And he's not going to give him another one. You know, this is all he has to do.
There are no grenades on the ramp for Zipex or Glaive, so there's not much they can do really. And you can see they're choosing not to engage, but hold position instead. They have a smoke, and that's it.
They can kind of contain here. They got the 2 rotations downstairs, and now Rops is here to watch out upstairs. Actually, you know, mousesports have a really good amount of control. They've still got a player outside, back mini, and there's only one person upstairs. It's a perfect opportunity for mousesports to hit upstairs, and I think they know, since seeing Glaive, that the rotation has come this way. Props comes this way out of Squeaky, and then they just bust. There's actually 3, but one of those players is in Vent. He had no chance of actually winning the duel. This is a fantastic round from mousesports. You know, made possible by Frozen telling them that nobody had pushed outside, and by Robs making sure that no lobby crunch had come in.
Yeah, again, this is a huge opportunity which has been seized by mousesports, just taking all the money away from Astralis. And when we're this deep into the game, that's a problem. If they, we'll see what Astralis choose to do with the weapons that they're holding on to, if they buy around them. There are tough decisions that have to be made now by the Danish side. And mousesports indeed have put themselves in a very strong position late on Nuke.
This might give them 14 based on the money. Depends how the rest of this round goes. And that's already 5,000 bucks down the drain.
That's another huge kill, which actually quite limits their decisions even more.
The investment is going to be minimal around this op. I don't know if they try to force invest. We have 2 rounds in one in a row for mousesports, so that's a bit of leverage for Astralis to get back to the buy quickly, but we'll see if Zonic can crunch the numbers. I don't know if they're doing the math for everything they need just yet. Well, I think they should. It might have been a good round to actually call a pause, because this is kind of a. I don't think it's totally clear exactly what's going to happen in the future. And then on top of that, they've got to figure out a cool play for Dupree on this round, but maybe he has a good idea already.
Yeah, their money is together at least, Astralis. Almost everybody, the average is like 2,200.
They stacked upstairs. If mousesports come into this blind, Dupree has full information outside. No CTs are going to move. They are scared of lobby.
Yeah, the problem is they have USPs, Astralis. They've got pea shooters, potato guns. Zipex makes his one work, but I think the result here is somewhat inevitable, and now Dupree has a lot of time to try and hide. Just shift walking away. See where he opts to go.
I don't think an op's coming otherwise, at least no op on armor, nades, or anything, so it's important. Sometimes we turn our brains off in these, you know, post-round situations where there's a save going on, but if we had a look into Dupree's mind, he's sweating a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see how much respect he's given. Very important he holds on to this. But for mousesports, they've got such a chance now. Ooh.
Oh my god.
Ooh, you have to wonder about the backpack on his back and so on, if it's been showing.
He doesn't seem like Dexter knows.
Does he run out the door to avoid the bomb?
This is just, yeah, there's just so many ways. Oh my god, he actually will. But he won't get spotted. He's all good. And yeah, this makes a difference, man. They're going to buy behind this. And now they have the full rifles. And Dupree and Zipex could have bought it up, but no armor, no nades. Now they'll have a full everything. This to defend against 14. Astralis with 3-round loss.
mousesports have to read that if they win this round, they win the map.
Yeah, there's just constantly no Astralis are going to be low. I think here they're actually, the question for mousesports is, do they know it's a full buy? But they can play it like an anti-eco at first and try to get some information. Let's see if Astralis give them any tell. Some nades go back outside. They're not being shy right now. Bubsky already down to half HP. Rob's putting some damage down Squeaky. Bubsky with an angle over the smoke. And they are both being quite proactive early on in the round about peeking things. It feels like a duel is coming soon. And Dupree, I mean, his #1 job now is how do I get to the right angle to be useful without falling for a nade and having to rotate. This is what, you know, Device was the king of, just being in the right place at the right time. Let's see if Dupree has that quality as well.
He has an incendiary, which could be crucial if there is to be an execute into this bomb site, but having the AWP, you need to be on that scope, so that could lead to some awkwardness.
Ooh, the read. They stack it.
1 minute on the clock for mousesports.
Same position as last time, James. One outside, holding Rob's in lobby. Acor peeking into the ramp.
Oh, pop grenades are out. Glaive will start the proceedings. Zipex is here as well. The bomb won't get dropped just yet. You can see a little fallback now. Dupree with the off angle, the AWP. Fell back from the A bomb site, but look at the rotation from mousesports and have a look at Frozen's position. I think he got some sound cues from the Heart player as well, so there could be some real trouble here. Magisk has to be traded though. Bubsky and Magisk with 4 kills combined. That is crucial for Astralis. They survived with 4 players, exactly what they needed. That round just turned into a black hole very quickly.
That was so juicy. That position again, it's almost the exact same thing, and the writing was on the wall there. As soon as the Glaive gets his kill, it can either be a continuation of the ramp and then almost this forced downstairs play, knowing that Dupree's still alive with the op. Instead, they rocket back this weekend where they had success in that previous round. Magisk has to get both kills, and Bubsky knows that he almost made a mistake. Dropping down the vents, he realizes, whoa, they might actually come back upstairs now, even though they just tested Glaive, and he still manages to get 2. Magisk with this play, getting flashed through the smoke. Bomb dropped in his vision with 2 more outside. Again, this is worse for the T's every day of the week. We have Rops inside watching the lobby crunch, but Glaive's eyes are peeled now.
That one has escalated quickly as we head towards the clutch rounds. 13 apiece.
They waited out. Actually, Astralis don't get any info here inside the ramp. Dupree looking for the dual Acor, a bit too sharp.
Glaive now trying to make something happen. This is disaster territory for Astralis. They don't have the money to back stuff up here like mousesports do to some degree. They are in so much trouble. Now the numbers game surely going to be abused by mousesports. 1-for-1 trade leaving Zipex alone versus 3 players. See if the clutch minister will go for it. Dexter by that CT vent. Zipex not being offered anything with ease.
You know, what's also been difficult, I think, for Zipex is these days, the saves are becoming much more common. You know, the 1v2s even oftentimes are not even worth attempting. If you got a 40% win rate, having this gun for the next round, it's less encouraging of clutches. It makes the clutches more special, but it also makes them more risky. And here's a round where I actually think Astralis make a mistake, okay? So they have a very similar setup, but they get the info with that play with Magisk. And the previous time they did this, they had Glaive follow up and like try to punish outside. mousesports make a good play by actually staying outside and whatever, re-aggressing. But Astralis get no compensation off the information that they gained outside. They had the double setup on ramp, but they were a little bit maybe scared of Rops holding lobby. Nobody got into lobby, nobody got into ramp, and tried to get into a better spot for a fast rotation. Instead, they stayed back in the 4v4 and then played these far angles and let mousesports get these 50-50s.
Looks like Astralis will have to play for overtime to make their best efforts. They would only require 2 rounds. mousesports with such opportunity, they've got a full buy in the hole to some degree, especially if they plant the bomb in this round. Now, last time, we had lots of USPs on the A bomb site. The situation is somewhat different now that there are 3 Deagles and a P250. Incendiary and a high explosive as well. And they are never to be taken for granted in the hands of Astralis. And it starts with the Desert Eagle. Rops deleted, and Magisk is just going to run and pick up the rifle, it seems. A swarm around the lobby. They'll lose one, but they'll claim one as well.
He has armor as well. They have an AUG on top of this.
Oh my god.
He's crispy. He's mad.
4 versus 2. This is a catastrophe.
This is insane. They're going to need this duel. mousesports have to win this wing, and they can. Another headshot for Magisk.
That angle is beautiful. He's further away from the point of contention there. Led Dexter into a trap, and Frozen now 9 HP versus 3. Would be a career highlight if he could convert this one, but how on earth could he possibly? Look at the angle being held by Zipex. There's no chance. From out of nowhere. From out of nowhere.
Wow.
You spoke about Magisk's performance. and it rising again. How about that?
Yeah, he's averaging like 1.3 plus ratings in the last few games. I think all the games here at Flashpoint has been nothing but a star player, and he's playing the star player position here on CT side in front of the Squeaky. He's got to be the guy to stand on a swivel, fight outside, fight in Squeaky. These are not fun duels to take, but you are offered up a lot of ADR if you play your job perfectly. 14 now to 14. And anything goes. mousesports fumble at the goal line. That's an opportunity to close out. They could have got 15 versus pistols, and now they've got a much harder round to win. But they've had a fantastic T-side so far.
Magic hears the grenades being deployed, moves closer to the vent. Bubsky now, it's his turn to hold things down. The bomb's been dropped on the A-bomb side. Frozen and Rops remain. 4 Astralis players are up. They are back with a vengeance.
The tempo change comes in, but they falter. They can't actually get through upstairs. There's only 2 players there, but both of them deliver. Bubsky hasn't had much action from the back of the site, but when they've needed him, he hasn't choked. Those are 2 important kills, and just like that, after an eco round. And some of these rounds have been so strenuous and so long.
What a dramatic turn of events here. This has to be one of the most interesting games of Nuke I've seen. And my God, mousesports are going to have to do this the hard way now. They were just pulling away control from Astralis, and individual performance from Magic's going to look at what we're left with. The AK, a hero weapon. Look at the lack of grenades for mousesports.
Yeah, it's crazy. You can do 10 things right in a row, but as soon as you make one mistake, that's when you can actually just lose the match.
It's not lost yet, but my God, their percentages are so low right now. Dexter with the AK-47. Frozen close to a 30 bomb, but it might not be enough in round number 30. Dupree going fishing. Hold on a second. It is Frozen now on 27. Having a look-see. Catches Dupree in the middle of nowhere. Has he done enough, though? No weapons collected, but mousesports are swarming towards B bomb site. Rops has a potential flank.
Oh!
And there's one from Dexter with that AK now. Suddenly, it's Magic and Bubsky alone. 2 versus 4. mousesports fighting for overtime. This game of Nuke keeps on giving. Straight through the smoke and straight to the floor goes Magic, and it's Bubsky left now. 1 versus 4. Last round, he's got to go for it. Some grenades will be nice, but cosmetic in this round, perhaps. Oof. It's not over just yet, Launders.
It's only right. It's only right that we get OT. I think in this match, it's just delivered. It looks so even. 8-7 halves both ways. I think it's only right that we get overtime.
I want more. I want more action from here. I feel like the game's only just begun.
Yeah, this is gonna be good. And this is where, I mean, this is a true test of Dexter and what he's learned and how good, because like everybody prepares up until regulation. You prepare for the full 15 and the half and each half. Once you get to OT, every gimmick's out the window. You've tried your hardest to win, and now you're playing off of the information from the match itself.
Show us what you've learned.
So exactly, what can Dexter do to read into the setups of Glaive? How much can he bring into these mid-round situations that get very tense? I honestly feel like he's out-called Glaive in a couple of these spots and looked really good. The same can be said for Astralis, who have shown their experience. No telling who wins the match at this point. Full money for both sides. Every option in the world. And I say that because
full money is $10,000, just to be clear.
Yeah,
which can be a problem for the CT side once we get to round 3.
For these opening rounds, yeah. We don't have to see the multi-auto snipers and drop rifles and spawn. They actually have to think about how they spend their money. But the options for mousesports are out there. I think one thing, Rops has commanded respect inside lobby. Almost never Astralis are pushing him in these situations. So when mousesports are squeezing for outside control, ramp control, I think there is actually a good opportunity for them to win from that point, because I think the one weakness right now for Astralis that stands out to me is that they're a little bit afraid to go back and get compensation. But if they don't win that opening duel outside, that's Astralis' way into the round.
I like how Dupree's webcam is 4x3, black bars.
They're so dedicated,
Right.
Just black bars no matter where they are.
When overtime strikes, there is an automated 2-minute timeout, which is soon to come to a close. The action is just around the corner, and perhaps this is the breather that both teams needed. Again, it is the case. We are in the section of the game where you show us what you've learned. We may see some unorthodox plays now, but that might be what's required to take things over the line.
I personally think when you're scrimming, this is where you start learning. The actual map and regulation, you get to try all of your different tricks. You find a bunch of different rounds. But this is the point where the DOMs come in. You start to really learn where you have such a good understanding of your opponent, and it just comes down to the minutia.
AWP out for both squads. Everybody fully equipped. Rops is missing one grenade. No flashbang for him. But apart from that, and Bubsky, we are in a position. The war will resume, and really, this is a war on. This is just the first map. Imagine if this was the deciding map. It would be utterly insane. We saw some crazy nukes yesterday, and it will continue here. Overtime, Astralis versus mousesports. A huge match here at Flashpoint. And it continues. Frozen versus Glaive on the outside. mousesports now with some pace. See what time they deploy the grenades outside. Just shy of a minute 30. There's a Molotov deployed by Glaive to try and thwart some of these smoke grenades, but they're up reasonably. Spraying again is Glaive, quietly making his way into main now. Got to be careful though. Avoiding the bullet somehow. He has created a gap for himself, but Bemis has the angle first.
He sprays, he waits. A huge bait game in Dupree in a new location. He's been up there at the top of Secret, but this is more of a rotator spot. The T's get control of this position. They don't have to peek him.
He and Dupree will get some sound cues here.
I love the call here from mousesports. Astralis' hand is forced a little bit with the amount of times that it's been downstairs, and now mousesports go for heaven control. Dupree's almost always been inside of Secret somewhere. If this is just off of probabilities, this makes a lot of sense. And they pull the Bubsky rotation downstairs.
Ooh.
The lobby push comes out, which is only going to open up heaven, I think. Magis, last known location, and he could get bullied in the spot. Tries to control for the spray.
He found a bomb, but Astralis have got really bad positions. Acor's just conceded his spot. They can deal with him. Surely he won't be ready for this one. Still deploying grenades. There's no way he looks to his left. Dupree's got to have a better angle. 3v3. The bomb's not even planted just yet. 15 seconds. They've got to plant it for heaven now. It's their only option. And Beamer's holding things down. They can see Zipex trying to take that plant away. That makes it a 2 versus 3. Dupree waiting for a peek from Bemis. Whose role is it to have a look towards main? We can see some jump peeking from default. You can see Frozen knows what's going on, so Bemis unlikely to peek just yet. Almost, he's threatening to. Dupree's waiting for it, and this is burning the clock down. But in the meantime, Bubsky is abusing this to move forward. Rop's deleted now. I don't think they've seen Frozen jumping at default, and there he is, Dupree now 1 versus 2, but the best chances have come and gone, and he's got to fall away.
That was actually perfectly played on the retake by Astralis, but also BMAS not peeking, overextending in heaven. The only way to draw him out in that spot was to have Bubsky get the second kill, and then it would have been Astralis to be able to win the round. Zipex knowing that he can do, the only thing he can do from this position is hold the strong line, make sure Bubsky doesn't get peeked, but they needed Bubsky to get both kills. It was well orchestrated, but the numbers advantage there were for mousesports, and they didn't falter. They won at least one of their 50-50s. They win the round, and overall, it's a great round from BMS and just a great mid-round from Dexter. I think going for heaven made a lot of sense here, based on where we've seen Dupree most often, and they take over the round that way after that kill on Glaive. There's so much emphasis on that opening duel.
One round in the bag, and you can already see the shortcomings for Astralis if they lose this one as well. Zipex on $450, so the pressure is high. We've seen individual performance from both squads when they've had a hero rifle from a pistoling player, but that may come later. We shall see. mousesports looking to breach the ramp, see if there's a pop flash for them. Just emerging through the smoke. They could line up for Zipex here. This could be brutal. It could be, but it won't be. Bemis ready for it. Separating the two, but Magic again having impact in the lobby, taking 2 players out. Man advantage as they move towards the B bomb site, and Dupree is on the chase. Moving around with the AWP. He has some position for his team. Acor taking control of control. But Astralis have intentions in that direction. That's quite a meaty flashbang, but he still has angles, Acor. Dexter looking to open the doors and help out. Good for one. Closes the door and he's out of there, or is he? Dupree will deny him a no-scope, leaving Bemis in a 1 versus 3. There's a trade from Magis, got a much-needed round for Astralis.
Yeah, a great retake. Again, this time it works out because they have the numbers. That opening kill can mean the world, but this time it's Magisk, who's just been a beacon of hope for Astralis here, pushing in through Squeaky, knocking down both Robs and Frozen like bowling pins inside the lobby as they were trying to put pressure on Squeaky with their nades, and that just saves the day. If not for that, I mean, this round is pretty much over. Faces the smoke inside of the Squeaky and shuts down the game plan for mousesports entirely. Don't expect Astralis to, win a man advantage retake like that downstairs. These are very close situations, but into the late round, whoever's favored is winning more often because both teams are playing very well. So, okay, a round apiece. Where will we land?
Last round of overtime, only one mousesports player has upgraded from a Glock. Acor has a Deagle, everybody else still with Glocks, so that's something to think about for the future. Rops will be dispatched of in this final round of the first half of overtime, but Acor has a superior angle to Dupree, and the numbers are tied once again. That may limit the aggression from Glaive, or will it? Dancing around the smokes in the garage. Drops a flash, avoided by Acor, but there's a man advantage again for Astralis. And Glaive slips away. So many smokes up, so many options for him, and he is out of there.
Yeah, smart enough to know. The only key to victory that they need at this point is to get into one-and-done positions. It's not always the case, but in a spot like this, they've got more than enough. Glaive is still being frisky outside, actually. This is honestly a way back in for mousesports, but it looks like for him the round is not done yet. Op coming back to try to trade him. Glaive's got some ants in his pants.
This is killing time for mousesports as well. Glaive's just slowing them down, just becoming a nuisance. Vermin in the garden that he can't quite get rid of. But a jump peek there. How about that for a smoke grenade? Anything could be behind that. 28 seconds now. mousesports may feel stuck. Sipex going on an expedition. Bubsky with a very aggressive angle. Control may be a problem though. It may concede his position. You can see him moving over now as the door is open. Wins the duel with Dexter. Traded by Acor. Mollies are down. 14 seconds to plant a bomb. That is quite a shot from Acor. And it gives mousesports a chance. Suddenly, Glaive versus 2, creeping by double doors. They're open. There's the pick from Beamers, and he deletes again. Huge headshot to give mousesports a round lead at halftime.
No way, they pulled that back after so much work done by Glaive outside. Another fantastic round from BMAS here on T side. And now I guess this is mousesports' game to lose. Every round could be worth its weight in gold. We don't know. So this will be, if this goes to 18-18, we go into another overtime. mousesports only need 2 to win at this point. And I guess we see why Glaive was so frisky outside. He really didn't feel like the round was done, and for good reason. That was such an unlikely round, in my opinion. I'm shocked to see mousesports be able to pull that back. But a fantastic shot underneath the fire for Acor to that ramp rotate.
That was
crispy.
Yeah, he was. That was a flow of consciousness from Acor. He's in the zone of the AWP. That was huge.
He's so fast, it's hard to tell sometimes if it's pre-fires or not.
Yeah, and those are the kinds of plays that you want to see from Acor. Again, a man who needs to stamp his authority in the AWP position for mousesports. That is one way to do it. High pressure round as well. Very important kill from him. We'll see if there's more in the tank now as he moves to the CT side of mousesports. Looking for 19 rounds for a victory. mousesports need 2. Astralis need 3. Some Lego building from Astralis towards the ramp. So they wait for a peek from mousesports. And again, that Astralis pace resumes once they move to the T side once again. Lots of guesswork for mousesports and off angles.
Looks like we've run it back to the beginning of the game almost with the style and brand of T side that Astralis are playing here. Glaive looking to get a lurk off fully downstairs. Not expecting Acor to be in this rotation. And this allows his other teammates to move around a little bit more freely, but of course Acor is smarter than to just sit in his spot and wait.
40 seconds for Astralis.
Refreshing the smoke on Squeaky is enormous for guising where the CTs can go, if they're going to be in mini or how many are upstairs.
Yeah, they're pretty spread out now. 29 seconds on the clock. Makes me wonder, is the bomb... Well, are the teammates going to head towards ramp? Is it going to be event play?
No way.
Oh my god, that timing is utterly ridiculous. That's a death punching moment for Acor. And Bubsky now Bubsky and Magisk allow things to turn around. Zipex catches the rotation. That is a curse. How do they do this? That is black magic. That's sorcery.
The tiniest string on a ball of yarn. It pulls, it gets pulled. The entire round falls on its face. Acor didn't even move from that spot. All he did was camp his position, came up to re-smoke Squeaky, went right back, said, nobody else needs help. We all good? I'm going to stay in this spot then, locks it down, and it is the spot that Astralis go to, and they dry peek him as well.
It turns on a dime.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
Perfect timing. That is
no matter who
brutal.
You're cheering for, you know, you have to put yourself in his shoes.
That's the sheer brutality of even witnessing that is just something else.
Yeah. That's a live leak.
That engagement is the round.
Oh my god.
He's still got money.
Yeah, they're so good actually.
I can't believe that.
Wow, just like that.
It's just not fair, is it?
After mousesports fought so hard and won that last rounds from like the 2-on-3 or whatever. And I mean, credit to Astralis. Once they got that kill, they recognized the opportunity. Like, oh my god.
It's like, if I was mousesports, I would press Q now.
Yeah, yeah, I know, right? They're just in that. I don't know. You could say, where was he gonna go from that spot? But geez, so unlucky, so unlucky. Okay, Glaive, there's a crack on the smoke, but he gets past. They try to put some spam damage down. They put some pressure on Frozen and watch his back. And this is part of the magic of being able to cross in early. Robs makes this hasty rotation downstairs. Ramp is open for a second. Dexter also meets him down here. And I like the confidence here from mousesports, but it looks like Astralis are actually peeling back out of lower. So they're the ones who win. Again, rotations downstairs are easy. Rotations back up are hard. So as soon as those CTs start coming down, this is when the Ts start to feel more confident.
I don't know. Oh, that's a lot of targets for Acor. Hits one of them. And I think Frozen may have heard the scope from Secret earlier on. Just though further away from the point of contention, and he only needs half a chance. Heading towards Heaven now. There were some audio cues there. Dexter on the flank. He could drop the bomb, but Zipex has the angle. It's information for Astralis at least, if not a frag. That's got to speed them up, surely. Magisk now towards Heaven. Glaive holding the angle, and Bemis has got a nice one. That's the bomb on the radar as well. Dropping off. We can see Bubsky looking for the hunt, but he's got to be careful of main as well. He will get the kill he's looking for. Magisk on the outside, still holding angles now as he looks to plant the bomb towards main, but Bubsky has dropped 1 versus 2. Magisk commits, and Acor is here. A careful shot from him, and mousesports find themselves of game points.
Doesn't play it scared at all. Could have actually had lots of time to get on that bomb, get off, and Acor just smartly peeks out into the duel, confident in himself. Yeah, it could have been a 1v1 if he lost, but we don't see that version of history. Instead, mousesports 1 away from actually closing this match out. Again, it's just so hard fought. I mean, the kills that Magisk gets are just so insane. I mean, I feel like he barely has a chance and wins his duels. Now, Zipex was in a key position to win this round. If he actually wins his duel versus Secret, then probably Astralis win the game. And he chose on his own terms to be in that spot to watch Secret. He hasn't been incredibly sharp this game. That duel catches up with him. We okay?
Glaive on roller skates outside. Some water went down the wrong pipe, but I'm all right. Thank you. We've got 3 more from Astralis, waiting for the smoke to go. Frozen now. Playing off of Acor's AWP, it seems. A little jiggle, a crouch peek. And Acor is dead. A burn from Frozen. Can't find a transfer, however. 4 versus 3. Beamer's popping out. Great headshot from him. And he falls back. Does not outstay his welcome. 3 versus 3. Minute 13 on the clock. Rob still lurking with the second AWP.
Is Dexter ready watching Heaven? Pushing in right now. They're about to meet here. Dexter fully prepared.
Is that the frag? Oh. That really changed everything. Rops now drops the bomb, which leaves Zipex with a lot to do. There's enough personnel for that bomb to be well protected. It's behind blue. Zipex has no grenades, no smoke, no flash, nothing. Just has to play and find these entries. Not sure if anyone's close enough to hear him moving just yet. 44 seconds to find 3 kills. Rops going deep outside. That's a huge headshot for Zipex. 35 seconds now to make a play. We've got a lurk smoke from Dexter and Bemis with the sound cues by CT Vent.
This would be unbelievable, to be honest. He's got the bomb, 25 seconds. Not much room to rotate back and forth. Not much room to fake plant if you'd like to. Molly comes down to the vent, doesn't expect his opponent to be there just yet. Opportunity now to plant Anyone in Decon? No. But we've got a CT coming from Con. That's the round done with. That's the map done with. And mousesports finally, after getting to the round 30, being forced into OT after messing up an eco, pull it off in overtime.
That was a massive game of Nuke, one of the strongest games I think from both sides I've seen in a very long time. That was really, really awesome to watch, and it's just the beginning of the series. Maybe some frustration on the faces of Astralis with how that one played out, things to think about, a lot to review in that game. That was really great stuff, and we'll see the thoughts on the desk after the break.
Well, this matchup is living up to the billing. One of these teams was going to lose their first map of Flashpoint 3 today, and it was Astralis in the end, falling on Nuke, their own map pick. mousesports will be taken in to Overpass with a 1-0 lead, and this one was incredibly exciting. All the rounds really delivered in terms of strategy, has some standout individual play from people like Frozen, Dupree. Everything was going great here if you're a fan of Counter-Strike.
Oh yeah, this was an absolute brawl, a slugfest, a scrappy affair, back and forth. The momentum did swing. mousesports looking so good in this one, and I mean, we were hyping this up as being, you know, Astralis looks good, of course, but mousesports has looked fantastic so far in Flashpoint 3 and delivering here in Map 1 OT on Nuke.
Yeah, I gotta give mousesports a lot of credit for the way that they've structured their team, for the individuals, and how smart they are playing. Like, players like Bemis now are actually reading like cerebral players in the game. Like, he's not making mistakes, and even though he's not on top of the scoreboard, it's actually the kind of unusual suspects for mousesports that carried them here. Rops, I mean, still 20 and 21 is not a bad scoreline by any means, but Frozen was a beast towards outside.
Yeah, an absolute problem, and even when he wasn't necessarily having a round where he's getting multi-kills, he's at least, you know, the consistent threat, the information's there, he's playing his life. You didn't see him getting picked off outside too often, and it seemed like he was always at least getting one.
Yeah, really exciting stuff. And we've got a lot of clips to show you guys because there was just so much going on in this game. Very back and forth. And the first back and forth was, of course, going to be round 2. We did have a pistol round won by mousesports and then taken right back to Astralis, who came out actually ahead on the T side on Nuke. And it started here with round 2. Alan has a illustration for us to look at, and then we'll look at the play from the players' perspectives.
Thank you, Monty. So jumping into this round from the first half, and Astralis there on the force buy here after losing the pistol round here on the terrorist side. Now, at the start of this round, they're throwing down loads of utility. They've got down the outer cross smokes just here, and they're also throwing so many nades out of this squeaky area. And what this does is it actually fools Mouse into thinking an A hit is coming in. They rotate so many numbers to focus on this upper bomb site when Astralis really committing with most of their numbers and the bomb into towards this lower bomb site position through Secret. Now, as this one plays out, Frozen suddenly realizes something might be up, so he drops down towards lower, tries to reposition to this stairs position, but the kill goes the way of Astralis, putting them into a 5-on-4 here, and now they're really accelerating on towards this B bomb site down here, particularly with Glaive, who's recovered an M4, and he's going to drop ROPS up here on the other side of the ramp, trying to hold this B bomb site to make it a 5-on-3. And now with the B bomb site in their grasp, plus 2 players here in Zipnix and Bubsky still on the upper bomb site lurking towards this position, mousesports, they'll be saving, and Astralis, they win the force buy and get this first half off to the perfect start. What did you make of that one, guys? Back to you on the desk.
That's just a fun round of misdirection right there. Astralis, I mean, honestly, both teams, several different times throughout this game, had some great IGL moments where they were standing out in terms of just, you know, being able to outmaneuver and stay one step ahead of the rotations. And right there, we're going to see it. Frozen taking the bait, as it were, swinging towards Squeaky. As Alan mentioned, he does drop in the vent, and it's just a matter of winning this gunfight for the pistols. And actually, the frag grenade is going to finish him off here on the stairs. He's only got 30 HP. And once Glaive gets this second kill under ROPS, I mean, this is just such an uncomfortable position for the CTs. There's not a whole lot for mousesports to do. And, you know, throughout this half, you know, several different eco round wins for both teams. And that's kind of what, you know, leads me to think that this was a very scrappy game. And you know, Nuke, you can really get up close and personal with those pistols. And sometimes it does pay off. Right here, I mean, what do? You have 1 HP basically as A-core. You have a scout in your hand. Bemis and Dexter are nowhere to be found. It's already a safe call rolling out.
Yeah, I think both teams, like you said, Lex, were able to just manipulate their opponents so well. I think that's something that we definitely noted from mousesports as well as Astralis, and that's going to be the game of Nuke a lot of the time, where it's not playing with perfect information a lot of the time on CT. There's things you can do to gain a lot of information in different settings, whether it's pushing towards outside, retaking lobby control, just holding ramp for the entire round, but it's how these teams push each other off. They both give a lot of pressure, and both of these teams know that you shouldn't just fight to the death in every single circumstance to maintain that information. So playing on the back foot is kind of a hallmark of being a successful Nuke team. You got to know how to fall back, how to push forward. The push and pull of the map is super important.
Well, we just saw the big brain call from Glaive there, but we're going to shift into some individual performance, because even though we did see mousesports fall behind on their CT side, you guys were all over Frozen. And so let's take a look at some of Frozen's highlights from the first CT side before we got into the OT, because he was making some decisions that you found very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, just his handling of this outside control from Astralis. You know, we mentioned several other players, you know, on these top teams here at Flashpoint 3 is, you know, if you have the responsibility all by yourself to basically control yard, control red box, you know, he's doing that alone, and he's doing it quite well. I mean, you're up against Astralis for one, but getting as many frags as he did in these engagements where he's just so aware of what is open to him. Clearly, the mousesports side have, you know, the communication down, the rotations are for the most part on point throughout this nuke game, and you know, there was even occasions where it's like, okay, well, he's going to get flanked from hell, and just the timing is so perfect. He's transferring his line of sight the other direction, picks up another one, and they weren't easy duels either, especially when you have an M4 in hand.
Yeah, to be a top team in the world, you need a player like Frozen. You need people that are willing to take risks on their own, willing to die for the cause. And thankfully for mousesports and Frozen this game, he wasn't dying very often outside. And that's the thing with Nuke. Like, you can structure it all, you can have teamwork, you can throw great flashes, but Frozen, in this case, was doing so much of it unsupported. I think maybe once A-Core threw a flash for him in the entire first half. Like, it was basically all him, and he was just calling out Astralis' plays. He was reading the smoke walls. He knew where they would be behind those smokes. Like, his foresight in a lot of those situations was incredibly impressive.
Yeah, speaking of tactics, we touched on with the telestration Glaive's ability to fool his opponents in mousesports, but in overtime on round 31, we saw some impressive shot calling out of Dexter as well, who did show throughout this map that he's able to hang with some of the best IGLs in the world.
Yeah, this is something that's really standing out to me for mousesports right now, is just his control over all of his teammates. And, it might not be micromanaging, but they clearly understand his task and purpose, his overall plan for what the round is. And so, okay, if we're going to change up this strat, we're going to actually wrap Heaven here. And Acor will get caught out here in Big Garage, but, considering mousesports was given all of this map control, sometimes you see teams reluctant to use that, right? There's a little bit of a risk involved if you're going to wrap all the way through Heaven and Hell. You don't have, like Maui was just saying, for both sides of this, this map, you can have imperfect information. And even if you suspect maybe that you've drawn rotations out of Astralis, which they did here, manipulating that is a whole nother story. So late in this round, you maybe expect Dupree and Bubsky coming in through mini garage, maybe able to come out with a retake here. Bubsky even gets the first, but the discipline out of Bemis is what I think, Maui and I were really seeing over in the green room, where he's just definitely playing a discipline, and he's very aware of what's open to him, right? So he's just not taking any additional risks, not taking on any additional responsibilities, not trying to win some crazy gunfight, just playing the clock.
Yeah, he played it super smart. I think Launders highlighted on the cast really well that Bemis not peeking there was essential in their site defense after they found the post plan. But what's so fun about watching two teams like Mouse and Astralis face off against each other is that they both had good T sides. And Nuke, it's so historically CT favored that to see two IGLs just manipulate the opposing teams with their rotations, with their just smoke walls, the lack of information, all of that made this such a fascinating match to just delve into.
Well, we are going to shift our attention now to Overpass, which is the next map. Maui, I believe you said in the past that Nuke and Overpass are very similar in the way that there's a lot of ebb and flow to the action. You're kind of trying to balance out the map in terms of the tactics. So are we going to be able to see similar kinds of map movement to what we had just experienced, which was delightful on Nuke?
I'd say, yeah, I'd say there's definitely going to be that push and pull. Usually the way that on Nuke, if you lose the outside, you'll try to take lobby as a CT. And on Overpass, it's kind of, if you're pushed back from A, you're going to take that water control towards B. So it's kind of a similar thing. And obviously vice versa, if they take water, you'll take A space on the CT side of Overpass. But the thing that's so cool about how Dexter is calling this team to me is that it feels reminiscent of kind of like Stanislaw IGLing, like these kind of pockets of aggression that he's throwing out there that are kind of making Astralis react, but he has just such strong lurkers and strong ways to just slow the rounds down that Astralis is having a really tough time finding answers in those kinds of moments. And Stanislaw historically has been a really strong IGL versus Astralis, and I feel like Dexter, he might not be copying anything that EG are doing lately. They've been kind of in a tumultuous period, but what he's doing is, it feels like he's building on that kind of style and playing in such a way that is just so hard for Astralis to get a complete and full read of the situation.
Do you think he's doing that specifically against Astralis, or has this been a tendency that Dexter has been using in mousesports across all their maps here?
This is what they've been doing. This is kind of the general style that he's been calling, those kinds of pockets of aggression, then spread out, thin out, and just read the whole thing. So it just felt fortunate, and when I was making my prediction, that's something I kind of noticed in the demos, that it made it a lot easier for me to say, like, I think mousesports are going to win this because they make me feel like peak Stanislaw IGLing. So
yeah, something that I think when the last time we saw mousesports play on Overpass that stood out for me was they would kind of spread into that default, use 3 players, get short control, and it looked almost like a standard Overpass round. But for mousesports specifically, they would have moments where you're giving a couple players individual freedom to kind of take some peeks over at sandbags, even kind of nudge at a monster tunnel a bit, see if you can create some space, see what setup the CTs are running. If you know they're close on Woodwall or close on monster, throw a pop flash, clear it out, whatever they're going to do. But it would be almost like you would give a little bit of autonomy to either Rops or Frozen to go up and take those duels. And then as soon as the duel happens, as soon as he wins his gunfight, the whole team explodes. And it's almost like it's a coordinated execute off of an individual play. And that reactivity, that reaction is so fun to watch, especially when you're watching a team like mousesports, just because they're moving as a unit into the bomb site. That's what I expect out of them here on Overpass. And I think that'll be tough for Astralis to stop after what we just saw.
Well, we do have some additional looks from Alan here, who's going to give us some deeper insight into mousesports.
The guys over at Mouse really understand the importance of gathering information, and that's what we saw in their opening match at Flashpoint up against Fnatic. And let's jump into one of those rounds here on the CT side of Overpass. Now in this round, the mousesports guys, they are on the force buy. They have all their money invested into this round, so this one is so important for them. And Rops over here has gone for a really big flank, a really big information play towards his B side of the map. And seeing nobody, he's communicating this back to his teammates. And now mousesports have stacked 3 players here in Frozen, Dexter, and Bymass with that information. The player to focus on here is Frozen. He's just got 1 kill, and he swiftly gets traded out there by Jacquinho. Now the 2 remaining mousesports players on the bomb side, they do such a good job to look for good jewels and stay alive whilst the flank from Rops comes in. And ultimately, after all the trades come in, the mousesports players will come out on top and win the force buy off the back of Rops' information play. So what did you make of that one, guys? Will mousesports have as much success finding information versus Astralis? Over to you guys on the desk.
I think that really illustrated a lot of what you guys were talking about with some of the lurks and like long flanks, that their style is opening up here. And yeah, Fnatic has definitely been struggling recently. It was a really dominant overpass performance, but did you feel like that was a good look at what you were discussing in terms of the IGLing?
That's a good example of kind of the ebb and flow of Overpass, where if you have one space, then like Alan said, you stack 3 towards the other side, and then you'll have just so much, you'll be so ready for the next engagement because you know that they have to go to you at that point. So hopefully mousesports is able to do that. But that being said, Astralis actually, I think the thing is that, you said it, Monty, like Fnatic's in kind of bad form right now, it feels like. So if Astralis kind of give up that much space to mousesports, I would be a little bit surprised if Rops can just walk all the way out of every tunnel.
And part of that comes down to like confidence in the situation. You're up 13-4. It's an eco. You have almost nothing to lose. So, you know, a gamble there isn't exactly the most outlandish thing or the most outlandish play you could come up with. But, you know, thinking about it, a lot of that has to do with Rops' trust that his teammates are going to stay alive, buy enough time for that flank to even come through. So, you know, considering how we just saw Nuke play out, you can tell mousesports are extremely confident against Astralis right now. They're taking duels confidently. They're playing situations correctly. You know, situations like Alan just highlighted, I think we're going to see him here on Overpass.
Well, mousesports now 1 map away from heading to the winners bracket finals. Absolutely huge to make it that far. Does guarantee you a top 3 placing at the event. So in terms of RMR points and their hopes for major qualification, very important. You can see the odds from our partners there at Unicorn on the screen. Mousesports were the odds favorites coming into this match, which might strike some people as a little surprising, but their results lately have been excellent. I think we are about ready to get into Overpass now, so we'll send it back over to the casters, Launders and Bardolph.
Tar very much.
What does that mean?
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Tar is like...
Tak.
I don't think it's related to tak, but...
oh, it's just the Danish, thank you.
Very... dialects in the UK.
Ta doesn't mean bye.
What?
Ta, like ta.
Ta,
yeah.
You know, but no, I don't think anyone says that anymore.
I think mousesports are going to win this series now. It's over.
2-0. You calling it 2-0?
Because this is let me sell you on this.
Sell me.
This is
give me the juice.
The map that mousesports wanted to. It's the biggest discrepancy in win rate between the 2 teams in the veto. It's the map that Dexter has shown. It's the map that Dexter, it's the reason he's in Europe, okay? This is the map, okay? This is the map that he individually performs the best on. They were winning the most matches by the most dramatic scorelines on his previous roster on Overpass. This is the map that he has made mousesports into a god-tier team on at the moment. And Astralis used to be kings on this map like they were on every other map, but right now mousesports are a little bit too hot.
This is quite the setup. We have Magis playing the blind spot. Talk about more about that later. The bomb's been dropped. The trades are favoring the CTs until the last one, which goes the way of Acor. We find ourselves in a 2v2 with Dexter getting dropped and Bubsky dropping back to the bomb site. Dupree pushing B in the meantime, has to be aware of a potential connector play. Interestingly, if you're inside connector, like in the middle of it, and you're running towards the stairs, towards a monster, you can hear each other. So just bear that in mind. Bubsky now pushing towards long. Astralis looking to close in on their opponent. Now, Dupree's got to be careful because in case T's were around connector, they would hear him if he started to run from his spot, but Bubsky may have seen something there. Oh, he sees him.
No,
he
he
just
shoots
can't
too
connect
soon.
just yet.
Bubby.
13 HP for Rops, and now there's area control with the Molotov. He goes straight through at Bubsky.
Oh,
He's not ready for Rops, and his turns around quite something. 1v1 now, and Acor has a chance to run to you the B bomb site. Sounds like he'll do exactly that. And there will be sound cues for Dupree as Acor makes his way downstairs. Flashbangs for all as Acor drops one on the fadeaway. 20 seconds to get this bomb planted. Dupree flying into action as Acor commits to that bomb plant, just fishing for that headshot and delivers it straight away. Untouched, gets a cheap helmet for the next round as well. Astralis take the pistol.
Oh, he saves it. But we had a great flank. They walked the entire way, but because they did it so early, mousesports had no idea the flank was coming in. But Bubber, he shoots a little bit too soon. He did that on the pistol round on Nuke as well on the CT side. He had it lined up, and of course he's got sick aim, but even there it looked like, oh, he's got to adjust a little bit. You don't want to lose a round like that. I hate analyzing based on aim because there's not much to say. Any old person can tell you that a round was lost because of aim, but in that situation, he had the good position. He really did have every right to just win that round off that kill. The kill should have been a given. Can't let that happen. But despite that, Big Dupree saves the round for them, and that's some massive damage. My God. Okay, they get the bomb plant, so that means that the T's can also have a very, a winning round in terms of the amount of guns they have. But look at the damage now.
Magisk almost on an island. That smoke actually limits the health he can have. You can see how awkward it is for him, and that's a rifle dropped. Yeah, the molly goes too deep there. Close range makes things very awkward, and Astralis are in dangerous waters now.
This is quite an interesting mid-round rotation. Dexter seems nervous about the flank, but they aren't completely checking ladder. So this is huge by Astralis because they maintain stairs control, and they make sure that they can catch time on mousesports going back around the long way to B. And it's just like the pistol. It's actually perfect for Astralis. He really doesn't have to fight anymore now. Yeah, he squeezed them into another location. They go down the stairs, Bubsky's there, they go to A.
Oh my God, the health on them. 39 HP combined.
Maybe we're going 3 maps, James. Maybe we're going 3 maps.
Bubsky saying hello. Door is open. A door of opportunity, perhaps. You can see them just trying to invite rotation. I love this position on the CT side because you can just have off angles towards us where it's like this. You don't even need to peek deep connector. But of course, all the pros will know it. Rob's looking for it. Quick tap, and they head towards the A bomb site now. They've actually have a chance at a bomb plant. Oh, hold on a second.
Oh!
Zipex! Rob's deleted. BMS 9 HP fakes the bomb plant, and I think his best opportunity to plant a bomb has come and gone. Playing for the round win won't happen on this occasion. A scary one for Astralis, but they keep a clean sheet for now.
I'm with you 100%. Bomb plants would have been worth a lot there, actually. Not just a situation where it's like easy to put the bomb down. They could actually use every little bit. So this is a tough round from beginning to end. Astralis are just hot on their heels. Glaive is this apparition in their room. And no one else believes that he's there, but he just keeps appearing, seeing one person from the stairs, off the top of the stairs, in that off angle you're talking about later on in the round, making sure to stay alive, but also make presence. And that was what he was doing so well over on Nuke as well. Magisk was doing a great job controlling space here alone, but the one Molotov he threw just went a bit too deep. Almost made things testy, but it was those Astralis HEs, the signature HEs, that always save the day.
I think Acor just dropped a deagle to one of Frozen or Dexter. He had a deagle, now he's got a Glock, so...
Interesting.
Can then assume there was some kind of exchange there. Well then, we'll see if Astralis can stabilize. Overpass would be my favorite map in the pool.
If...
Uh-oh. Bubsky's stuck and Bemis is waiting for him. Half-Elf, he's got a chance at the P250 again. Astralis caught in awkward positions. And again, there's a chance.
Wow.
Dupree needs 2 here.
Oh, that's quite an adjustment.
That's the bomb carrier as well in Rops. He's got help on the way with the FAMAS, no less. There's no Kevlar for these remaining players, which is a real help.
Oh!
If he gets shot on the head, then that can make a hell of a difference. Rops ready, 69 God res.
Will they read this? Zipex, no idea that they could have pushed into bank. CT's unaware, running here. They make tons of noise. 2 T's waiting back for the flank to come in. Frozen, eat your heart out. He gets 1 kill, second to line it up. Weird, though. Zipix, they know he's here. Surely he just gets cleared. Okay. He's being stopped. And there's the 1D. Beautiful play from Frozen. Beats that timing in a bank.
No Kevlar. They're naked.
Doesn't put his teammates in jeopardy. It was about juggling those rotations. Where'd that first kill come from that forced him down the stairs?
Naked insurgents. Yeah. Launders.
What does that mean? Insurgents.
I'll get your definition.
Okay. I feel like I've heard the word in like Metal Gear Solid or something, but I'm not much of a military guy. Like,
a rebel or revolutionary.
Okay, okay.
Something you may hear on the BBC News. BBC News sucks, by the way. It's not what it used to be. It's crap now. And they don't respect it anymore. Well, it's been
at 6.
It's been a tumultuous start to this for Astralis. Now they find themselves in 4-spy territory.
This is a pretty good game already, too.
Yeah.
Thought Nuke was peak.
It has delivered.
You know, coming back to, I mean, if the Dupree gets the kill on Robson, even in the bathrooms, he gets the 2 you're talking about, they're probably fine. So, mousesports working hard. And using their talents. You got a player like Robs, he is going to get kills like that consistently.
Dupree was a scout. I remember when the early days of Overpass, all the ecos and force buys, CTs would sit on the bomb sites, and the Ts would struggle to deal with them. But of course, the map has evolved since then, and there's hundreds, if not thousands, of hours of experience now.
Interesting.
But they were always fun to watch. I like to see them every now and then.
Anti-ecos often gravitate towards long for the Ts, but these angles are very strong for the CT side. Yeah, they got one in the back to put some scout damage in, but I don't think Dupree even takes the shot there. But even though, look how far the bomb is from the other side of the map, 25 seconds. The CTs want to gamble. A is calling their name. Oh, this is very scary for mousesports.
Yep, there'll be bomb plant pressure. And with these angles, Astralis will have the shadow advantage as the Ts move on to the site. The bomb's on the floor now. 9 seconds for that bomb to be collected and planted, but that will certainly help. Man like Rops with the 2K. Oh, they're lining up, but Glaive? Oh my God, this went down to the last man. Very dangerous indeed. Some warning shots for what might be to come from Astralis.
Man, he's just clicking as hard as he could. Even if he just got the one bomb planter, there was not actually a body block proper in that situation. He had a bit of an open line there. There was a chance to get that Acor with a great shot to end it. 2-2, and no buy potential here for Astralis. As close as that round was, it only puts the economy for mousesports a bit in jeopardy, but they still did a great job on that previous round with majority alive. Absolutely.
They did as much as could be expected within reason. And that was very brief. They know that 2 more players are around the back and they can look to abuse that, but the rest of Astralis are here as well. But how long are they going to be here for? Barrel position not checked just yet. Bubsky now. Maybe potential for a knife kill attempt there, but mousesports were ready. Mousesports were ready. Happy faces on the T side.
Buy comes through again. They didn't save for an up. So they want to keep this 5 rifles. And this is something that, you know, of course, another situation where you got to wonder, like, how good they'll do with Dupree over Device. And I mean, the really weird part is that it was about Dupree and Device.
Yeah,
here on
the double
side.
Ds.
Yeah, man. Yeah, the double Ds. They aren't working together here on CT sides. Dupree's all alone, and he's only got the rifle, and he's been great.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a mobile player who's so good in bathrooms, but who's the huge opper to...
Oh, we're going to see the pop flash over the top. I love this. Rob still gets a kill, though, completely blind, but he has the timing to still get a kill out of that. Is there anything that man can't do?
Maybe they compromise here, and they make up for that lack of op presence with just some more rifle mobility. But low on grenades already here, 1 minute 20.
Yeah, the AWP around the A-bomb site is so powerful. Just for slowing down a T side, so many angles, so many setups you can have with one rifle support. But mousesports may not know this just yet. They move forward respectfully. No peeks from Astralis, but I can see that Magisk has a flash in his hand. The only flash at this point. It has headed towards short B, I think.
They still got the push on Monster, so I don't think this is going to catch them off guard.
Yeah, 3-man on the A-bomb site. Frozen swinging now, and he's ready for Dupree. The multi-frag from Frozen. Start as he means to go on. He brings his prowess from Nuke into the A side to overpass. 36 seconds, no flank from Astralis. Glaive having a look, we'll see if he goes for a wallbang. A-core holding the angle, and that leaves Zipex alone.
I would like to see if Dupree on that sign was actually blind on both sides. So I think they threw the far flash towards Bank for Frozen to come up and clear. But I feel like they hit Dupree with a second flash as well. Because he couldn't see for a second when he came to try to flick back off of that first peak. Frozen, fantastic entries on both of them. The overstack was coming into the right sites, but yeah, just like one or two great flashes there. It was A-cores who got 2 flash assists.
Things starting to look stronger for mousesports now. Astralis certainly need the full buy with the AWP, I feel.
Yeah, but the weird part is they specifically, they bought on everybody and then didn't have anybody save for the op. So are they going to change plans and try to go for it now? Because
what is the science behind this hair?
You can have up to 2 up. I love it. I feel like it got thicker. Like his old hair was like, it was too regular. You know what I mean?
There's this like spaghetti flambe you could do with lobster, where the spaghetti is kind of twisted down the middle of the plate, and that's what his hair. That's what his hair looks like. Which is pretty awesome. It's great for the personality of mousesports to continue with their newer players. Very important stuff.
They lost a lot of drip with Chris J.
Oh, they did, yeah. And Sonny as well.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
He had the wildest shoes in the game.
They were chain gang.
Absolutely, yeah. Do miss that, but there's lots to love about the new mousesports team as well, who executes an anti-eco strategy. They've got 3 more players to deal with. Being very patient.
I used to call them mousesports with the cheese chains. And I DM'd Sonny, I said, where'd you get this chain? And I bought one.
Oh, that massive...
Remember. Remember.
The massive gold chain you used to wear with a fully buttoned up shirt.
Exactly.
That was quite the contradiction.
I wore that at ECS. I said, what are you doing, Wonders?
What has become of this chain?
I said, beat myself.
It was just like the combo. You got to undo the button or remove the chain, in my opinion.
I don't have enough chest hair. It's not my fault. And I'm wearing the chain. Is there any chance that Astralis could bring this back? I mean, they've not been too slow. Like, they actually tried to do some stuff here, but they just never have the advantage in these situations. Oh, man, the most annoying flank of all time. Look at this timing, but... A-core throwing a nade, so actually a CT can hold to the right. A-core
my...
that's a great shot.
That's beautiful. Just a one shot.
Yeah.
Just a slap. Bubsky threatening to steal this round away. mousesports playing very confidently with low time. Not allowing Astralis much of anything, but if you let them just a little and they have a Desert Eagle, then who knows. Zipex on the run again.
I really want this game to be close. Not just because I put points on Astralis, but because this series could just go, like, who knows about this next map as well. But yeah, mousesports are super good on overpass. It's the most interesting thing to happen in their veto, just because like Dexter comes in as an IGL, but individually he's got outstanding stats on just overpass. He's really good at this map. So super comfortable calling and also contributing, taking a lot of opening duels as well. One interesting thing that Maui's brought up, and Hawkeye actually made a video about this as well, is that the opening kill attempts for ROPS has gone up. I think you'll have to check out their YouTubes for those videos.
Astralis now have the AWP they're looking for. They've got good utility as well. Loads of high explosive grenades. We'll see if they're as sharp on overpass as they are on other maps. mousesports now, they know that Astralis had the big buy, and they head towards B with the numbers charging towards short. AWP will kick things off. There's a smoke to fade behind for Astralis, starting with 4 towards B themselves, and then the HE start to rain in. Looking for aggression towards Monster now. Could be pop flashes. Plenty of spray though. Glaive's barely alive, still jump peeking. Sees presence at short B. Magisk alone in the toilets, trying to hold down long with an off angle on top connector as well. And Astralis will stay focused in B as Dexter looks to find out what the climate may be upstairs.
It's such a floaty map. the fluidity here on CT side, it's unmatched. It must be hard to read here for mousesports. I'm actually shocked they're doing such a good job of it. But I think they've maintained enough presence and survived some of these very tricky rounds where the big rotations have come in that now it's Astralis who just not as comfortable being as free.
Have a look at this. Dexter went up the stairs, and he threw one flash, bounced off the wall outside divider, and it went downstairs. And that's enough to invite a rotation from Zipex because of the angles being held elsewhere. They are dancing now. So mousesports have made it a little weaker on this B bomb site, but the rotation from Zipex will be fast if required. Frozen still hunting. Molotov's on short B now. Bubsky running fast and he baited a shot out at least. Trying to fall back. Glaive will be dispatched of. 20 seconds and they're committed to this bomb site. Down goes the bomb. Looking good for Astralis now. Mousesports with the money, they can make it expensive even if they don't win the round here. 13 seconds of smoke to create some spaces. Dexter tries to press forward. Dexter versus the world now. Dupree deleted. Bubsky gone as well. 5 seconds. He could do a little more. Running low on bullets.
Oh, he's going to try to save, but he might die after time. We've got Zipex up top. Zipex wants to rush him down, but he's off the pillar. Oh, and he gets the kill.
That's not. I don't know that that's worth it.
No, it's not. Yeah,
for Astralis.
It was high risk, high reward, right? I mean,
is it high reward though?
Actually, yeah, they have so much money.
Really.
Yeah, that's true.
They can't afford to lose even 3 weapons in that round.
That's a good point.
He should have just jumped back behind the water.
It was just high risk.
Yeah, it's just high risk. They don't have the money to survive this, and with all the guns they lost, we see Zipex goes from an M4 to an MP9.
Glaive on the FAMAS. His own damn self.
Yeah.
On the MP9.
Like a focus there, maybe. Definitely had to keep his eyes on his own wallet.
I feel bad because, I mean, I feel like I would have made the exact same decision there, so maybe he wasn't in tune with the money exactly. But okay. Oh, what? Not even a little damage?
Bit of strafing there and regret. My God, look at the lack of utility here. How timely those incendiaries were for Astralis on that B bomb site. No incendiaries to be seen with 1:20 on the clock. They are going to have to do this the hard way, and mousesports just seem better equipped, figuratively and literally, for overpass.
Oh, that
Shadow.
That was a trick. Okay. Double peek, but he might just get one and get away. What a shoulder! He actually just shouldered the Shadow.
Didn't even see the Shadow. Maybe
that's
low settings on the ops PC or something. You should see a Shadow there. Well, Frozen will start to make a Sunday roast. Got the carving knives out, leaving 3 players for Astralis. I think they have an idea of where Glaive may be. His days are surely numbered, holding down 2 jobs. Looking to his right and his left. Dexter just emerging.
I think they have zoned Bubsky. They have an idea where this rotation will come in. They're playing it super carefully. I feel like Dexter calls the pump fake. They pause. Yeah, he's hunting this down. Oh, look at that. They've got 2 lines of sight on this, but Bubsky finds a way out. Acor with the op. Is he going to get impatient and swing? Oh, all the while, the bomb is going downstairs, and Bubsky, now he just can't even leave. They're both occupied. Acor's haunting them. Bubsky, he just wants to save at this point. Winning the duel would be a bonus. Acor takes him out. Mousesports with 6, and these rounds are just getting farther and farther away from becoming close.
Yeah, Mousesports kind of looking like the final boss at the moment. And it's great to see Acor delivering versus such a big name in Astralis as well. Again, we're looking for consistency, and we are being given consistency by Acor at present. Astralis with a timeout win, their only win in the last 7 rounds. If you ignore the pistol, this is utter domination from Mousesports.
Yeah, true. There's been some good ideas, but Mousesports have stayed ahead. I'm just so impressed with their composure. That's the #1 thing. They're not getting scared in these defaults.
Full control from Mousesports. Glaive emerges from the fountain, gets there eventually, trying to fall back, and he's able to do so. Don't think he'll be pulling that weapon soon. But keeping the numbers alive is important.
You know, this might be a conspiracy, a little bit weird, but I'd say one thing that impressed me for some reason was when you mentioned that Dexter went upstairs to throw a flash. Okay, hold on. This actually might be an important round to watch to see if they survive the Antigo. No, that's some good damage. BMAS down to 7 HP, but a key kill comes out. Dupree goes down, man advantage on the site. Magisk and Heaven. Big flank here, but it's a little bit far.
Glaive surely does not full commit to this unless a kill comes in, but
yeah.
I don't see where it does.
Oh. That was maybe the final opportunity. We'll see. They can potentially punish some exits. But as I was saying, you pointed out that Dexter went upstairs through a flash and like caused a rotation, and I feel like that, you know, they've actually earned that level of respect. Even the kind of shittiest fake, as I like to say, just a shitty fake that shouldn't work. There was no other presence to go with it. There was no actually spotting of a player, but they got a key rotation in that round just by throwing one flash, and I think that's the respect that Dexter has earned from Astralis with how good that they've played. That they can do almost anything, and Astralis will actually take a bite.
Well, some highlights in a saving round from Astralis, but again, it is a complete drought on the scoreboard. One timeout victory, and that is all they have to show at present, and that's simply not enough. 3 rounds from 10 on your CT side versus mousesports. They're going to have to find a way to get into this game because they're not really into it right now. Dupree being given the saved AWP from Glaive, heads towards long. So previously we saw 4 players towards B from Astralis. A different approach here. They've got numbers towards the A-bomb site, but mousesports, all 5 looking towards B at present.
They're still awake, you know, they're still pushing here. And Dupree's got a very strong line. So, oh, yeah, they're very confident about the thought. There's no A presence. And Zipix mowing him down. USP out, but he can still get this headshot potentially. Frozen eventually trades it. Oh my God! Controls full blind on a Bubsky.
The round flips on a dime. Glaive is downstairs, Magisk upstairs. Both towards B, but they just can't hold on to anything here. The round slipping out of the hands of Astralis once again. Magisk looking to close the distance, but Acor has the line. He's got help from Frozen to finish off the job, and Dupree just has to stare and wonder what could have been as another round goes the way of mousesports. Doesn't matter about how you start, matters how you finish, and mousesports finish on top once again.
This is what Astralis used to do to Liquid in the B site. How do they like them apples? What can you say with Frozen? I mean, that's not someone you could teach something. Yeah, that's not something you could teach someone, excuse me.
13 for 5 is Frozen.
That's crazy. Continuing on. Touch 30 in that last map, I think.
These rounds feel almost uncontested at the moment. mousesports looking extremely strong. And again, that's always been an interesting thing from Astralis, from mousesports rather, in terms of roster changes they've had previously. There's been situations at majors where it was laid out, make it this far, otherwise there'll be changes and so on. But they make those changes, and every time they come out with a strong team. And we see a very strong team here on Overpass. mousesports 8 rounds on the T side versus the 3 of Astralis, including the pistol.
Even with all that hair on Frozen's head, sucking the nutrients out of his brain, he's still able to put together these performances. And he has been, like, probably the best player in the whole team.
Healthy, balanced diet, that's what happens.
Yeah. He's eating good. He's got the fish oils, the malty oatmeal in the morning.
Yeah. His face tells the story.
I don't have a problem with the way that Astralis are trying, like, where they're putting themselves. They're doing a lot of good stuff to get info and fighting and stuff like that. But mousesports are breaking through in very difficult situations off of really strong refrags. And it's not like they're getting lucky either. The tactics are there. They're just... you know, you've got 3 people in the B site and a big flank and full info on A. Astralis should win that round most of the time. But it really, there's just a lot of talent here on mousesports.
Right, and Dupree taking things into his own hands. Rifle support is here. But down he goes. Rops will not allow him to escape. Spray through the wooden panel. That's quite the angle from Rops. So, 4 versus 4. Astralis being given nothing by mousesports. This is a very deep boost where the player, once you jump on the head, you don't have to jump up.
Yeah.
You can simply stand up and get another kill. Zipex deleted by the barrels. One of the strongest boosts in the game in that respect.
And on overpass, it's always part of the idea to look for timings for the boosts, but drawing attention is a huge part of it, and not doing it every round, not overusing it is huge as well. mousesports, you know, tactfully find a place for it, and a bunch of T's come barreling at the face of Magisk, and he'll be able to convey this information to Glaive and Bubsky, but it's 2 ops to try to retake in this spot. Glaive doesn't want to leave too early. Bubsky gets into position, full white, switches out, scopes in. Oh, he doesn't actually. Goes for the no-scope, dies to Rops. Definitely could have afforded to scope there. Not to say it would have made a huge impact on the round, but now both die. But there's just so many situations where, I mean, the scope, even if you literally quick scope, you're 100% accurate. And it doesn't, it just is so quick that it's hard to justify almost ever no scoping.
Style points, Launders.
Yes, yeah, I guess so.
Although that's not the position that Astralis are necessarily in. And they understand the takes that mousesports have towards short B. They're having 4 or 5 players towards B every single round. Dupree trying to do what he can to take those advantages away, but Robs with the wall bang as he's rotating back towards the site. They just can't get away with much of anything at the moment, Astralis. And now we're seeing a mix-up from mousesports. Just 2 players towards that B bomb site. They're throwing all kinds of junk in. They're really trying to entertain, but still, Astralis keep 2 players upstairs.
They've created a ton of chaos, but yeah, they defend. Astralis still are in bathrooms. They have short B control. So we'll see if this means anything. Glaive, this fight could be huge. I mean, they've expelled a lot of utility. Okay, they win 2 duels, 2.5 now with Rops. Player on either side of Zipek's scope, or sorry, Dupree's scope, excuse me. But BMAS wrapping divider, and Dupree did not see the close player. Will this op shot come in? Well, the bullet comes out, but it doesn't go in anywhere.
Such an important save there. Very awkward position. Just in a nick of time, but Frozen still with the kill. Falling back now, Astralis. And who knows, maybe the T side will be a relief for them. They have a chance at a 4th round late on in this first half. Frozen, though, has time. He's in the clutch.
I think it was a matter of time before one of their ideas hit. Again, I am seeing... I'm seeing ideas, at least, for their CT side.
Well, let's see what Frozen has left for this round. Trying to avoid a double peek. He'll put a smoke up to create some space. Spots the flank. Got to be real careful here, Astralis. Zipek's now 24 HP. 8 bullets before the reload comes through. 23 seconds on the clock. He must know there are 2 on the site. Is he looking for 1 taps now, Frozen? He's got 6,400 in the bank. 15 seconds, suggesting he's saving maybe. Just waiting for a misplaced CT. Zipek's up close, will just about survive there. And it will be a 4th round on the board for Astralis.
Thought process was pretty cool. There was maybe a chance, but yeah, low ammo. And Astralis being smart enough. Lots of odds with 3 players alive. A lot of positions covered, so good setup overall. And even though, you know, BMS gets 1 over Dupree in that spot, for the most part, everything goes really well for Astralis. And also the aim, like just the duels are going well for Astralis too. So it just speaks to how good mousesports are. But again, we're seeing a lot of ingenuity in the setups, lots of different looks on the CT side. Mousesports are trying really hard. Now we're going to round out the half. Round 14 here. Another push from Dupree out towards long. It's not enough to post up on his angle, so he has that duel in the bag.
mousesports not necessarily in a position to respond to this elsewhere, but we can still see Rops creeping through the smoke regardless. Maybe Rops will be enough. Catching Bubsky with smoke in his hand, but Zipex has the angle. Awkward for Astralis. Scary rounds from their POV. But they got themselves a 5 versus 3.5, and maybe that half will be enough. Thanks to searching for something. These AKs ever dangerous. There is a chance for Astralis to get 6. I think that would be fantastic the way this half has gone. 5 looking good for now, but mousesports have turned more than 1 round back in their favor from a bad position.
Overpass is all about creating connections between the CTs, tethering off each other so that you can stay out in open angles or push for map control, but always have bait setups. And one is successful here for Astralis. Dupree with a deep angle. The shot comes in. Man. He baits one out right in the elbow. My God, Acor just bullies Dupree. Not even a chance to shoot back.
Holding the angle. If Magix tries to peek the site, peeks the toilets rather, he is going to be in trouble. Molly's deployed towards Bankers. Area is taken. Another tag from Acor, and that can be cleaned up upon. Look how things are turning around. Suddenly, mousesports are in the lead. No response to any of these kills. So strong on the T side. More flames towards Banken. What do Astralis have left for the last round? Do they really full commit to this? Bubsky has a defuse kit. They have no grenades. They're both low on health. They could lose everything. They probably will if they press forward. Too many men, too many angles. Zipex now going to try and go for it, but he is absolutely doomed. They take nothing into the last round of the first half.
I love how BMAS takes that fight, and I feel like to speak to his development, like Maui mentioned on the desk that these days he's thinking cerebrally. He used to be so good at aiming that he would sit on the flattest angle and just react. But then teams got better and he was kind of one-dimensional in certain spots, and they would just hard clear him and kill him. But these days, BMAS is doing a little bit extra to think about how he should take this duel if a player is going to be ready for his position, and that's allowing him to get a lot more kills, I feel like. And that was insane the way that mousesports earned their way back into this round. Thought that was Astralis for sure. Now around 15. Is it going to be an 11-4 half?
mousesports looking more like a lion which has escaped an enclosure, mauling people left and right. It is somewhat of a mauling this half. Maybe the wounds will be fatal, but there's another half to come before we find out. 5 versus 4 early for mousesports as they take control of connector. Magic's doing what he can, but they're stuck. We got players high and low, and they will fall surely. Magic with somehow getting another kill, looking for a third one, but he'll be denied. 3v2 now. As mousesports brute force their way. Got to go and collect the bomb first, however.
Go back, make him. I don't know if he's going to beat him long B. Seems worried about it. Actually go stairs. They could split up via short. It looks like plans might have changed, or they'll just slow it down a little bit. They don't have much to worry about, but they are running into the better gun. Bubsky, can he make a heroic play? Oh, so much damage off. This is actually a winnable 1v1 now. Acor with the AWP. Zipix coming in with a deagle. Acor doesn't have a smoke to escape from this position, so we'll come out with a raw duel potentially. He gets some info here on Zipix, but that goes both ways. Shot comes in. mousesports win another round.
mousesports the hammer, and Astralis seems to be a nail that is being hammered into a wall and breaking in half. We'll see if there's any structural integrity left to them once they move to the T side. That comes after the break. We return. The nightmare of the CT side has ended for Astralis, but perhaps a new nightmare will begin as they move to the T side. It's their turn to be the aggressors, so we'll see how much choice they have in the matchup. They will have Glocks out for this T pistol, Glaive with grenades, the rest with Kevlar.
Someone did tweet me and ask, is this the first time Astralis are playing Overpass with their new lineups? This might be the inaugural match. I haven't actually looked at that myself, but that might be the case. which means that explains the growing pains. But man, mousesports were way too good.
Yeah, they were simply better, as we said during the break, and got to give them credit for that. A lovely shot from Frozen. He's found himself with 3 kills with this USP. He has been a star in this series so far, and he continues to shine bright in the pistol. Spotting Glaive now. Creeping with the Glock, and here come the numbers, and of course it is Frozen to land that final one as well. Please send config.
Dirt nasty. That is so gross, man. Frozen is just extremely sharp. He's a Japanese chef knife.
What are your settings? What is your resolution? How tall is your desk? How far away is your chair?
How many hours?
What shoes are you wearing? Do you have socks on?
Do you sleep with socks on?
How often do you drink water?
What brand of shampoo?
Well then, it'll have to be done the hard way by Astralis. There'll be not much of a force buy. Magiska's gone for full armor and a Desert Eagle only. And he's dead now, of course. I'm not even sure if he fired a shot.
Yeah, well, at least someone else can try their hand at it. I don't remember if Mad Lions played a lot of I feel like they did play Overpass, but I can't remember. So I'm not sure how comfy Bubsky is. But I'm sure they've done some work. But yeah, definitely looks like some stuff is new. You know, Mad just can do pre-working together on the A site in that previous round. Now the T side, whole nother can of worms. Man, mousesports about to close out this whole game already. Even though that's just a Glock round, it's just we're in the critical territory. 13 rounds.
I think Frozen's hair is rising.
Like yeast.
I think there's a lot of static in his room. And
he's got some Velcro on the ceiling.
Yeah. It's just going up.
I don't know how it got like that. But I assume he's in a good place because he's been owning.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's going nuclear. 20 for 9 on Overpass. He went beyond the 30 bomb on Nuke.
Oh.
Having a fantastic time. Rops will fall to Glaive in the connector, but Frozen, of course, is here to clean up. Maybe just wants the difficulty setting raised to make things more entertaining for himself.
I wouldn't be surprised. Sometimes I watch Rops play and I try to think, like, does he just wonder why everyone's so bad? But that's just one of the thoughts that goes through the mind of Rops. In the most humble way possible, of course. Frozen, this one's free. Oh, is it? Oh, what a clear. Wow, the awareness from Glaive.
Yeah, this one doesn't seem to be over just yet. Bubsky with an off angle, having a look and deleting Dexter. This will be an expensive round for mousesports.
Don't call it a comeback.
Beamer spotted with the fat mass, trying to escape, getting the knife out to move quickly, but he can't move quickly enough versus 2 men spraying him down. And there is Astralis' first round in the second half.
So this is one of those things where it's like things could magically work well in the match. They don't have that much data here with their new lineup. They're missing a device, of course, and I mean that's just the way it is. But Bubsky can do a lot for the entries on Overpass. Overpass, just like every other map, entries are insanely important. How he'll fit into the B-Exax is a big question. And how comfortable will he be for this versus this mousesports defense is another big question. All pistols pushed up. One stairs, bathroom, one long. You can all kind of face forward without having to spin around. And Robs take first contact, kind of. Didn't seem really well ready for that. And now the CTs start to fall.
This is a nice round. Just a confidence-building round for Astralis.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need that. Sometimes that's enough. It's a basic round. There's not much defense, but you're winning a round. You're getting some consecutive rounds. You're in control, and it's a little control. You know, there's a lot to come, but it's still like it's just good for the psyche.
It actually is. Yeah, definitely. No, for sure. Yeah, Lex talked about that. Sometimes you just want your teammate to get a few ecos to get back on the board, to get back in the game.
Yeah.
Our brains are smart, but at the same time, they're kind of dumb.
To know what it's like to frag people.
Exactly.
Again.
Yeah. They're huge. They need to know they're fallible.
Just want to feel, damn it.
Right. I feel like one of the hallmark things about Astralis, first comeback versus Virtus Pro at the Atlanta Major, it was like that. It felt like they never pressed tab to see what the score was. They really were. They have this quality of being able to play it round to round.
Yeah.
And then suddenly the game's over. They made a comeback, and it's like it didn't even strike them that they were ever losing the game. So always the scary part for them. A test of resilience here for mousesports. But it's not like mousesports have been losing Overpass. And I think a lot of their games have actually been wins with their opponents only getting single digits as well. That's just how good they are right now.
I have to say, just on a completely random note, I think Bubsky might have the clearest skin in Counter-Strike. Look at that. It's perfect. He's just got perfect skin. It's outrageous.
Killing it.
Also, I look at him and I think, are there any ugly people in Denmark? I don't think there are.
Yeah, I land there. I'm like, where'd they hide all the ugly people?
Well then, now the game really begins for Astralis. They have so much work to do. mousesports in a strong position, moving to the stronger side now with 2 AWPs. dupreeh, though, he's ready. He has the angle, and down goes Acor. And Acor's been excellent, I feel like, in this series so far. I've been very impressed with his performance. Especially the confidence that that last kill on Zipex towards the end of the last half. Like, he's playing with supreme confidence, and that's what you want from your sniper. So he's definitely grown into the role in devastating fashion.
He knows the angle so well. Like that duel you were talking about, he hit the dupreeh twice, and dupreeh didn't even see him either shot. He just had the perfect engagements there.
Speaking of perfect engagements, Frozen continues to give us multiple examples of that, winning duels versus the AK-47s on a regular basis.
You can just loosen the leash with Frozen. You can let him off to go by himself, and he'll find a kill and find his way back home safely. And, you know, looking for an advantage with the amount of health that he has. I wonder, now that he's phasing the smoke, how this play will go. But they flash for him, which will alert the tease, and they end up getting a kill now. And look how lurky Astralis are being right now. They're literally just waiting for something like that. This actually opens the round back up for them.
Wide swing from Glaive. Dexter just holding in the corner. That Molotov may just finish him off, actually, if it goes deep enough. And indeed it will.
Wow, no one is even watching him.
Oh dear, but hold on a second. With 15 seconds on the clock, the bomb is headed into the final 2 players for mousesports. Rob's jumping into the angle. He's got the flicks for the chicks as well, leaving dupreeh alone. This one has turned into a calamity, running into an unknown bomb site with 15 seconds left. They didn't really have info in either direction. Maybe hoping that there would be a rotation with that frag. There wasn't, and therefore they lose the round.
Oh, that's a layup. That is a huge layup. Maybe they didn't realize how quickly they'd be able to kill Dexter. They could have actually, from that position, mollied him out, caught him on the outside of bathrooms, and then hit the A site. But they thought that the rotation was going to come in. But it just didn't. Yeah, they just read the round incorrectly. They had mousesports where they wanted to. mousesports were basically thinking they were going to save if that A play didn't work out, and Dexter dies, and it happens, and then Astralis hand the round over to them.
That is most unfortunate, and it makes the comeback a lot more difficult for Astralis. The margin for error is reduced quite significantly now.
And Rops isn't an everyday opper, but when he does pick up the op, he rarely misses. R-A-W-P-Z Rops.
See Glaive now. Just creeping around towards the bogs. Limited disabled access in those toilets. That's a great double dig from Dexter.
That kills faster than an AK. I swear.
Right.
It's insane.
If I got killed like that, I'd assume someone's cheating. Ding, 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 and you're dead. That's a nice one from Glaive. The bomb has not been seen by mousesports. We can see on the radar. It's in a passive position. Swing and a miss from Acor, trying to fall back. I wouldn't try and hunt him too much, though, because he'll probably kill you.
His movement is so good. He doesn't expose himself at all. He doesn't bump into any walls.
Slinks away. I actually walk into walls and doors on a regular basis.
Yeah, me too.
So credits
in
to
real
Acor.
life.
Yeah, it's just big, massive issues. That smoke grenade allows him to maneuver on the bomb site. In the meantime, we've got to push into B. That's the bomb spotted, rotation being called. Very aggressive grenade from mousesports, and there'll be more on the site. And that could cause some variance on both sides. Dexter on the receiving end now, as Zipex comes in for a bomb plant, moving into the smokers. Incendiaries are thrown onto the site. Acor going fishing, and Astralis find themselves in a 4 versus 2 with low money for mousesports. They have quite the lead, mousesports, but not in terms of personnel or cash in this current situation. Rops is in a committed position with no kit. Acor has the kit, but I think he may want something before he commits to this one. You can see Rops just moving about a little, but they're being given nothing at present. I don't know how Rops gets out of this situation, but Acor, I'm sure, will try and save this AWP.
Yeah, I guess they hard punch the guy in the back of the site, and then Rops can go for CT. I don't know how far he wants to go. Whoa, some damage here. They come off the sandbags. And the bomb gets tapped to hold the T's attention, and everybody's going to die in this position. That's actually huge for mousesports. But the thing is, they could have saved 2 guns, not have money on this one. But actually, I don't. Why did they go for it? There's so much money here for Astralis. Mousesports in the winning position.
They committed the AWP.
Maybe they
really
were
late
genuinely
on.
trying to win somehow.
I mean, Acor did touch the bomb. He had the kit. He committed into the bomb site. They could have had the hero AWP, which you can do a lot, but they have nothing instead.
I really hate the Magisk angle, like on the grate, in the middle of the grate. I feel like it only kills bad players making bad plays or good players making, like, on a bad day. But for the most part, you're stuck out there. You eat the full flashes. They can peek you in the tunnel, and you're stuck.
I can't even get up there. I don't know how they do it. Oh, I remember there was a video where Simple showed the angle that Rops was just holding, where you can land headshots towards the tunnel.
Yeah,
but, that's the first time I've seen it in a pro game.
Right.
Pro game. Thank you, Simple. I gave him an Andy Warhol tomato soup fridge magnet.
No way, cool.
A long time ago, because there was a tour of his house and he's got loads of fridge magnets on his fridge. So, you know. I'm a part of Simple's daily life now.
How'd you get it to him? Did you just like put it in his hand?
Gave it to him at an event.
Nice.
I told him it was coming, and then he came up to me one day and said, "James, where's my fridge magnet?" I was like, "Give me 1 second, bro. It's in my bag."
You've been known to buy people presents.
I do. I just
Say it.
I sent Jordan's wife a very interesting present today, which she will receive on Tuesday. I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it, but it's like it's hilarious. You know, because when a woman has a baby, right?
Yes.
She receives loads of presents for the baby, but there's no presents for the mother.
Yeah, right.
So I got her some gifts and a trolley gift as well. I'm very good at that.
Yeah, we can't spoil it. I forgot. Didn't actually get it yet. Well, that last round was more classic Astralis with the full B exec. And the sucky part about B and playing in it, Maui mentioned, if you're playing it like as B anchor or whatever, it's just it's just open across the whole thing. Like you can throw in it, you can be the most creative when it comes to nades, when it comes to hitting this side of the map. And how Astralis built their brand on Overpass were these signature B executes that were just basically impossible to stop, where they basically flash you forever. They chain their flashes perfectly, and then you have to jump into the back of the pit, or you play for a retake and lose. And they could actually do it almost every single round and a half if they had nothing else to fall back on and still win a game. And that was a huge part of Astralis' Overpass. And honestly, I don't remember the point at which teams actually figured out how to deal with it. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they try to implore it a few more times. The scoreline's still steep here, and it is another save for mousesports. But we're still, of course, holding our breath to see if Astralis really have more to give.
Ooh. Timely Molotov.
Oh, we got all 4.
USP collected. That leaves Rops with the Blaze Desert Eagle. What is your favorite Desert Eagle right
I have one. I have a Blazed Eagle with a flammable foil on it.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that was. Did you get that from Simple as well?
No, I made it.
Oh, we made it. Okay. Because
Yeah,
no. Actually, no. I sold mine on the Steam market.
Okay.
I had the same setup.
I made it. It was like $20 when I made it.
Yeah, the flammable. I love the flammable.
Now the flammable foil is expensive, and the Eagle Blaze is like $500.
The Dragon Lore scope is a great place to put a flammable sticker.
So
I had that when I had a Dragon Lore as well. I had a factory Dragon Lore and had the flammable sticker there.
Goodness.
Sold it for a lot less than they go for now.
But you probably still made some good. I mean, that's just
no, not at the time, because at the time they were being duped a lot, so it was slightly lowering the price. But here we go. Now we are into the business end of this situation.
Yeah.
mousesports will be back on a full buy, 14-9. Every other buy is a bit less dangerous for Astralis on this comeback. But do you believe?
You know, at this point, if mousesports got to win 2 rounds, I still believe in mousesports. I think they didn't get lucky to get here. They look really good. They still got more to show here. Astralis have just had the most frictionless route to bringing back this half with the double ecos and everything. So we'll see.
I think that double locks are a big issue for Astralis here that we see wielded by mousesports, because again we see these tight angles held towards the toilets and so on, where you just walk and die and it's 5v4.
But that's the thing here. They have maybe a full B exec coming, which makes these might render these ops useless. This is going to be a lot about ROPS here to have impact, as they're trying to point out. We're already way out of Monster at this point.
Look how expectant they are. Dexter, oh my god, he's so deep, Bubsky. Well ahead of the flashbang we see from Dexter, looking for the transfer, not quite there, which means Beamers has some area to hide behind. But he'll be deleted pretty quickly. Dexter trying for the multi-frag, but Magisk is ready with 2. Acor has angles now. Someone's got to collect that bomb. Glaive has a smoke grenade. Where does he deploy it? You can see them coming out for the peak. Acor has no idea which way to look, expecting a multi-peek, and won't quite hit the mark on this occasion.
We'll call it. Yeah, we'll call this round Frozen. I don't think he's even going to try to go for this. This is Astralis touching 10 now. Another fearsome execute in the B site, and Robs doesn't get a chance to shoot because here's what I'll call a relay execute. They go for like this contact play where Bubsky is very far out. But once they get into that position and nobody is checking on it from the half wall, no one's taking the occasional flash out long to Monster to peek in, and Bubsky makes that much distance, that pop flash, it just exponentially gets stronger because now Bubsky is turning the corner as the flash pops, when normally you'd hear the flash pop, 3 steps later he'd come there, Robs might be able to turn around and react, but instead, Bubsky literally has his gun up his butt, and then he can also now displace his opponent's setup. And again, it's all about making connections on the B site for these CTs, as well as A. They always have to be communicating with each other. Once you get that first kill, the second kill is much easier. And that first kill came so quick. So here we're seeing how Bubsky's being implemented. Pure on entry fragger in a round where they lead into this B exec. This is really dangerous for mousesports because it forces them to have to check on something like that. And sometimes you can die trying to flash re-peek Monster or take control of it over again. But this opens up the map a little bit for Astralis. Scares mousesports now.
Yeah, that was a lightning fast entry from Bubsky. 1 M4A4 persists now. We've got a forward incendiary to try and slow down Astralis, but that is a nice entry from Zipex towards the B bomb site.
What a monster comeback this would be if they actually made it real.
This would really be like climbing the side of a mountain with no ropes.
Yeah, this would be a Honnold moment here for Astralis.
They're spread out. They have time, and they will look to watch out for a play from mousesports, apart from towards the B bomb sites, apparently. Zipex moving away, but I'm sure he'll hold an angle. Dexter has no respect for people outside of his own team, and that can prove fruitful. But Zipex will spot him. Great spatial awareness, again, in terms of timing as well. It's like, okay, I've got a window where I can stand here and focus on connector, but eventually I've got to look behind me.
Yeah,
that'll make things better for Astralis.
I think you characterized Dexter really well there. I think one of the most impressive parts about him is that he really just looks at plays as good or bad. He doesn't think about them as overly aggressive or not. If he sees an opportunity, he just goes for it, plain and simple. No hesitation.
You have to play this kind of Counter-Strike, though. We see it like on the Complexity CT side as well. Extremely proactive, always moving forward, trying to close the net and get information. And it can benefit you so much. Of course, mousesports are playing with pots and pans here. They're scraping for a buy until the next round. But there's 20 seconds on the clock. It's time for Astralis to take the bomb site and reduce the margin for error, which starts to begin there. That's a very important frag onto Acor. Beam is still alive, so he's got a chance for a wallbang, but Dupree has the angle. 11 seconds as the bomb, well, as the round is ended, and then the bomb is planted.
This is some weight off the shoulders. Okay, the neck tension is gone here for Astralis. They have so much money left over. They're within 3 of tying this game up. And mousesports have yet to find success now following that pistol, the 1 round on timeout. Been a lot of bomb plans here for Astralis. A lot of majority of live rounds. I think we're nearing the point where Astralis literally feel like they're in the lead despite the numbers.
Just takes 1 slip up though. Just the 1. They have a monetary advantage, however. Rob's boosted up. Oh my god, there's the airstrike. Thank you for playing. Get out of this round. Dexter with 4 HP as well. A nice mix-up from Astralis. The HE's here again.
And you can't throw that nade you can't throw those nades every round because they never use the boost. You want them to use the boost so you can throw the nades.
That's what we call a false sense of security. I can do this. Astralis say, no, you can't. We have changed the rules.
And it's not just one player. They nearly got 2 off that triple nade. Dexter down to 4 health. And he is rifling. Changes the way you play. You don't actually limp around, you know, when you're on low HP in Counter-Strike, but psychologically, you take new fights.
Looking at the timing, though, there's a minute on the clock as Astralis move to the playground position. I just wonder, when they collapse on a bomb site, how much time there will be left. Acor in connector looking for a third. He's in a very strong position to just keep these engagements which may not be favorable to Astralis. Dupree now, oh, it's turning. The wheels are turning in favor of mousesports. 2 versus 4. All of a sudden.
To be honest, they can beat them to the site. The smoke is down at the top of stairs. Acor, will he push through this? Plant could potentially come down. Rotations, they're a little slow. No one's on long. If Astralis take a risk, they go for a plant. They do have it open.
Surely Dexter's that risk because he's low. Exactly, pushes through that smoke. And it's Zipex in a 1 versus 4.
Oh, the boost.
Denied. And it's, oh no! Well, there's a cameo appearance from Acor. He wanted to have part of this round. Some smiles, a little shrug of the shoulder, you know, just wanted to make sure everybody was dead. Sometimes that'll cost your teammate. But it is match point for mousesports. What's interesting is...
that was kind of expensive, actually.
Yeah, exactly. They don't have all the money in the world here, mousesports. So if Astralis win the next round, that could actually have a weird impact.
This is crazy because they actually have a... they actually crushed Acor in the stairs. I mean, he didn't have any way to leave. Yeah. He had to get both kills just to stay alive in his position, and then had to judge where the next fight would come. Straws didn't have a really great way to refrag. The first kill, I understand. Glaive, in that spot, felt the need to come up and kill stairs, but there was no one to refrag him, and yeah, now we're in a position 15 to 11. Like you said, they just got that one. The pressure's off a little bit more. Acor does bump into a wall finally on his way out, but...
Did Glaive see that?
Gets into safety.
It'll be a molly towards Divider or a smoke. I guess both of them.
Oh, wow, they transitioned to this boost so nicely.
Yeah, so the default is the smoke into the toilets and the molly towards Divider to take the AWP angles away. They smoke it and boost over. And this information, if nothing else, this can keep an extra man towards the B bomb site. However, long is a question.
Yeah, long is a question. At least there's that. Maybe Acor goes and takes a peek. But for the most part, they know that Astralis have actually given up bathrooms now. They went to fight back for that information with the boost. But do they need the additional rotation? BMAS in the same spot again. It didn't work last time. But they've got this flash to support. Oh, BMAS ends up throwing a nade. He tries to shimmy off that position. Glaive leading out, creating so much space. And now the CTs might just fall down. Rob's here from the back of the site. He gets knocked off. And again, as soon as that first kill comes in, the other players are such a liability.
Yeah, and that team kill towards the end weakens the money for mousesports.
I really hate that spot, James. You can't leave. You can't hide.
Ain't nowhere to go.
The only thing I guess the only thing that makes sense in this position is he has full view of Monster, and that one execute where Bubsky came in, like leading in, you know, that's no longer an execute that they can try. At least he'll get the info nice and early from that spot. But I'm not sure why he was throwing a grenade. His teammate flashed for him in front of it. Maybe that's why.
He's the point man.
Yeah.
It's a risk.
Yeah.
But if your timing is... Like the downside, if your timing is like that, it's a complete disaster.
Maybe they flashed simply so he could throw the smoke and then they were going to forget about it. But what they should have done is have him smoke Monster first so his teammate can smoke it next and then he doesn't have to throw any nades in the later portion of the round. 2
rifles survive the round. They're still in the hands of mousesports, one of which is an AWP, and it looks like they're going to buy around it. They're going to give themselves a buy at 12 and then 14. So... there'll be at least 2 full buys for mousesports. This is still a dangerous round. A second AWP comes out. So it's pretty good, all things considered. There'll be lights on some grenades here and there, but they've all got the primary weapon that they want. So this is still a dangerous round.
I think they're just pretending it's A again. Bomb goes quickly out towards B. They flash back the push on A as well. Looking for short control quickly. Look at the spread of the grenades. They got stairs. They open this up for Glaive to come up. And the CTs haven't pushed anything else just yet. We know how dangerous the full B exec is, and Astralis have multiple looks on this. Bomb will start to make its way closer. Bubsky tries to lead up. They have the op trained on it. Robs takes him out instantly.
So that's a huge problem now.
Yeah, that's a big risk, actually.
This is the issue with these jiggles into an AWP, 4 versus 5, and there's a lot being held by mousesports now. This is big trouble for Astralis.
Yeah, they might have been better off just to go for the full nade set offshore control. Robs doesn't see a player crossing through the smoke, but I think that information goes both ways. Zipix looking to flash his specific position, but they don't actually peek him just yet. Robs, oh, one bulleted by Zipix. The trade comes in as well, 3-on-3 now.
We will have 2 more players on the site if a push comes through, but it hasn't just yet. 45 seconds on the clock, and the ultimate intentions of Astralis are not quite known at present. You can see mousesports rotating, but Astralis are just holding position very passively indeed. But then time becomes a factor for them as well. Don't forget that late play into the B bomb site where 2 players were waiting there. That'll be an issue for Astralis. The grenades start to come out, and there'll be time for mousesports to react. They're playing the clock. You can see hiding by the barrels. 20 seconds now. That will almost be an extra man for them, the clock. Not giving them the engagements they're looking for. It gets worse and worse. A-Core fast, Nexa pops up, and this could be the end of the line. Indeed it will be. 2-0 for mousesports over Astralis. They storm nuke in overtime and do the same on overpass as well.
Just good enough there with a couple of ideas to win them that last couple of rounds. Great from A-Core to get his 2K in the stairs. That brought him a match point. And then finally, they find the opening kill versus the B exec, and then that's the solution to actually win the game.
A great series. We did go deep after all in a second map, but the comeback was too long for Astralis, and they are defeated by a very strong-looking mousesports. It's enough from us for now. After the break, thoughts at the desk. They will see you back here in a few minutes.